Showtime. Good morning. Good morning. Good. Look at my chat. Look at my chat. Go double check YouTube. Make sure we're good. Good morning. Yes. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Wow, you're all here. First for Terry. Good morning, all from Beaton, Ontario. Had to duck out early yesterday. Anything interesting beginning with I think he was Deputy Chief of Police Windsor, interim chief, night shift chief. He was a typical WPS witness, which what I mean by that, Terry, is they had options. They were able to do things. There was very little going on for him. The one thing you remember was an abandoned house fire where there was no emergency blocks or anything like that. Talking about whether or not he could get resources from other police forces. So at the beginning of his testimony, he talked about only having to deal with London, kind of alluding to the fact that they need to make more and they only had London available and they didn't really call on it. And then later in his testimony, he was kind of bragging about all the different police forces that they did work with, including Hamilton. So some weird testimony there. Two coins, both sides. He was playing both sides a bit. But overall, he didn't help the government at all. He had the line of the night or the line of the day, which was they didn't even use the EA. Of course not. They were cleared by the 12th or the 13th. And then we also saw documents with him. One of them said 9:12, I think, in the morning, 9:12 in the morning of the 13th. All blockages are cleared, nothing left. And then another document from the OPP, which was saying only Canadian flags, peaceful, no protesting. And then we also saw a video where they arrested, I don't even know if it's a protester, just a person sitting on the grass and didn't want to move and arrested them. Overall, not good for the government, didn't help the foundation at all for the EA. It just added a little bit more spice and a little bit more substance to the single command, something that controlled everybody, that had resources planned out and worked on. So a little bit more for the central command, not much at all. If anything, it hurt the foundation for the EA. So at the end of the day, it kind of sounded similar to OPS, just half a day worth. Here's a chuckle from Germany. They had to dismantle a wind farm to make way for a coal mine. Oh, that's so bad. That's too bad. That's too bad. But look, when you try and be extreme one end or the other, you're going to get extreme outcomes. And that's not what you're looking for. There's a time and a place for everything. So wind might work well out in the water where there's very little in the way, and maybe it's not a problem. Taking a plant, maybe it's more of a problem. Solar works some places, not everywhere, et cetera, et cetera. Just like the fight for our freedom, all fronts, work all fronts, smart, intelligently, logically, work all fronts. And that includes energy. And I think Alberta can become, and Canada could become, quite the exporter of all types of energy if we get back to business. Germany makes it's not. Yeah, good morning, Railroaded. Railroaded, if you're in the back in the private, hit me on private chat. I left you a message there. And if you can't make it in this morning, that's totally cool. But we'll see if we can start doing that stars today. Good morning, Prairie. Good morning. How you doing? Did you go talk to Manitoba? Are they going to join Mo? What are you going to do, Prairie? Get me a phone number. See if they're going to join. It would be great to have, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario all joining this push for freedom. Good morning, Railroad and Prairie. You guys are awesome. Purple hearts. Okay, so we know what green hearts mean. That comes from stunt. Purple hearts. What do purple hearts mean, Prairie? Share, share, share. Is it a PPC? You supporting the PPC there? Morning, all Clay. How you doing, bud? Nice to see the polar bear again. We have lots of good questions. We got Terry and Prairie and Clay and Railroad. What else we got in here already? That's all I've seen so far, but I think there's another one. Morning, Clay. All right, Terry. Apparently it is true, but most likely not something mainstream media report on. Railroaded. Cowards. And mouthpieces they are. I'm starting to have a hard time doing the whole rationalization around the reporters on that side who do this. I had a friend reach out to me on LinkedIn. Good friend, really good friend. We go back. Nothing will get between us. That kind of friend. Very left, very progressive, very social. Lots of good things I admire about him. But we do debate quite a bit. And the current debate was around whether or not the media is portraying, and if even Twitter or clips that I put out is portraying enough message to appeal to, as we put it, the biggest tent possible. I disagree with that. I don't think I need to do that. I'm appealing to Yellowhead straight up. I'm here for Yellowhead roots and values, rooted in Alberta. I don't think it's my position to try to appeal to any other regions. If my message does appeal to people all over the place, then well, wonderful. But I'm certainly not going to twist or placate or massage in order to accommodate everybody's opinion. So to my buddy, I love you. I hope you watch the stream and you see more about what I'm putting out than just the Twitter message or a little clip. There's more to us than that. But tying into this question from Terry with mainstream media, even he fell into the mainstream media narrative about my position about masks. My position on masks is personal choice. If you want to wear it, go ahead and be proud of it. The particular clip he was talking about was Commissioner Rodu's mask incident, where he came out with it and then panicked. My position on that particular clip wasn't that he was wearing the mask and, oh my gosh, his politics and all that kind of stuff. It was his reaction to when he realized that he was showing the mask. He wanted to obfuscate, hide as an official, hide that from us. And his response to it is what I actually was responding to, not the mask wearing, because I'm independent. I am for personal choice. You want to wear a mask, go ahead. Don't try and make anybody else. But go ahead. You can do that and be proud. If that's your choice, own it. That's my position. Anything else, I wasn't comfortable with it, because he's showing, not that he's liberal or anything like that, to my friend. It's that he's willing to obfuscate and he's worried about optics. Those two things are two things I didn't want to see in a commissioner. And that's what I saw exactly happen in that moment. He could have just proudly sat down, took the mask off, folded it like he's done 1,000 times, tucked it away, and said, okay, let's go, let's move on. And I would have had zero reaction to that. It was his, oh my God, I can't believe I did this moment that I was responding to. So I think it's fair. I think that critique is still fair, because that shows obfuscation. I'm not saying he will, but it just shows at that moment he'd rather have hidden his belief about masks, and he thought it was important enough to quickly run out of the room and hide. So that's what I responded to. Nothing we didn't already know, Terry. They didn't need the EA, correct? Yep. Not very good communication. Yeah, it was. There wasn't much needed, because there wasn't much going on, right? It was a protest, and mass confusion, and children in strollers are dangerous, and children holding hands in intersections are a form of defense, is kind of the way he put it there. They were being used as defense. Defense to what? Okay, were you going to drive over them? So defense to what? I put up my website. I pinned it. You can find some stuff there. I haven't put up that commissioner stuff yet, but I will. I will do that soon and let you know. And amazing to see you all in here. And Terry, all right. What is established was his rhetoric and kumbaya with all governments and security services. They had a fear of protesters returning, potential violence. All situations had that. 100% Terry, and he even used the word paranoid. They were paranoid that it would be returning. He used the word paranoid. So yeah, that's 100% right. And kumbaya with the OPP for sure. Oh, the lawyer. But the lawyer did let him know that there might be some different perspectives today. So we're going to be hearing from the OPP, Dana Earley, Superintendent Dana Earley. She handles the region around there, and we're going to hear from her about how they cleared Blue Water with little incident. There was no problem, and how they will clear stuff like this all the time. We'll be hearing that. But yeah, a lot of kumbaya with the OPP lawyer. Yeah, get a room. They were both kissing a lot, but Good morning. Good morning, Terry. Great to see you. Osario, there you are, bud. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It is a happy Tuesday. It's a very cold Tuesday. 30 minutes is not enough to heat up this trailer. So I'll go try 60 tomorrow. Starting to get there, though. Yes, midterm election day. Yes, we're very Canadian focused, but our largest trading partner and our largest culture partner and our largest neighbor, they're having a massive day today, aren't they? Midterm. Red wave, right? This is what a lot of rhetoric has been and a lot of the thinking has been, a lot of red wave. We're going to be talking tomorrow about I can't believe they're not done counting yet, or can't believe that happened again overnight. Like, interesting. Not the focus here, but we're certainly going to keep an ear on it because, again, largest trading partner, largest culture partner, largest neighbor. There's a lot of important things with our American friends. And I believe there's even some Americans who watch this stream. So love you. Happy to have you. And good luck. Hopefully, democracy wins on this one again. And there's no need for follow-up. Things go the way they should go. Good luck, guys. Wish you the best. And we'll certainly cover some of that as it comes out. 10-4 Railroaded. Had a great chat with Railroaded. A lovely person. We're going to start working together in the back end stuff. Azario, hopefully a red wave. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what the rhetoric is. That's what people are talking about. Never know until it's all done. We'll just leave it at that. Although Mule Part 2 might be a movie we watch in the future. If you haven't seen 2000 Mules or whatever it's called, it's an interesting video movie documentary, especially if you're technically inclined and you understand the level of data that's collected on mobile devices. If you actually understand that, it's a very interesting movie because it's not wrong. It's not wrong. And asks some interesting questions. But anyways, good luck in the U.S. Wish you all the best. Hopefully it doesn't, go horrible in any way. All right. So good luck with that. We'll keep an eye. Good morning, Clay and Arzario. Railroaded. You're awesome. Welcoming everybody. Slam that like button and subscribe. Yeah, go for it. It all helps the algorithm. Hopefully we have no drops today. Generators on. We should have a clear sky. And we're not expecting snow today. So we should have a good stream. And possibly tomorrow, Railroad might be hosting a stream. We'll be doing some more training tonight. Thank you, Railroaded. I was sure you were right regarding some journalists in legacy media. There was a great wobble happening at the beginning of March 2020, causing everyone to have to find a way back to equilibrium. Yeah, hasn't independent journalists really taken off quite well? They've been doing quite well. And they're only basing it off of not having to have filters and not having to have agendas given to us by someone else or scripts given to us by someone else. Independent journalists is where all journalism started from. And it's kind of the same thing with parties. Independent was how we represented each other before. Parties came along later to kind of make things easier and maybe control things. And then mainstream media or large corporate media kind of did the same thing. Get the independents, control it. So if you're really into good news, you should have saw how we reacted yesterday. Our chat, our chat got a link about Convoy 2.0. We were all super excited about the potential of that maybe happening with Danielle Smith's support. We were all super stoked, very happy, rah, 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 lots of honking. But being independent journalists, and whether you call yourself one or not, they're stunts, you certainly are. We were able to go and find more of the truth, dig deeper, and then in the end, we didn't find enough to corroborate it as a story that has merit. That's what this kind of group does. That's what independent journalism is. And with that kicking in all over the place, coast to coast, with many, many different people, there's no doubt in my mind the messages will spread, the truth will get out there, because that's how we used to do it. It wasn't until really recently we consolidated all around corporate. So we're getting back to grassroots journalism. It's fun too. Cold, but it's fun. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Barbara. Nice to see you. Welcome back. And Goose, good morning. Too cold to leave house today. You know, Goose, it is. It is pretty cold. Good morning, Barb and Goose. And Railroad at 20 for you. And let me go check my weather station. What is it outside? Yeah, -20. So railroaded, we are kindred spirits today. Stunt. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, -20. Okay. Well, send some of that love this way. +10. That's all right. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. You definitely have a milder area of the country and enjoy it. But you'll get yours. You know that. It gets cold there too. Wow. That's all fun and games until a tornado comes down to town. Stunt. Yeah. And we're going to have a tornado in the 45th, right? Is that going to be our... Yeah, our colors are backwards. So it will be our conservative wave, our blue wave, 45th Parliament. Good luck again to my American friends. Hopefully everything goes smooth and you get what you voted for. Great point. They used the words paranoid. They did. Yeah, he did. He used the word paranoid. He said we too. So the collective we. So that was their general sense. And based on what? Like, here's something that look, paranoia is a function. It's in us. We have it. It's natural. It's really in our subconscious and stuff because it's needed for survival. When we used to, live in the bush and in the trees, paranoia was what kind of kept us alert and, focused around. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But where it does get to be a bad thing is when it's not corroborated, where there's no reason for it. That becomes a condition. That becomes a problem. Paranoid for what is usually the question you need to answer. And there could be a justifiable answer to that. Not in this case for Windsor, because all they were talking about was like once the pictures that they provided and that are available is all we needed for Windsor. Like one lane, one truck that deep, the kids with holding hands. Like, yeah, you really had to reach really, really hard to say that this can turn into Jan 6 Windsor version. The bridge is coming down. Like, you really had to really, really stretch. And I think that was beyond reasonable. So because of that, I think this is the bad version of paranoid, okay? It wasn't functional for them, and it didn't help them. And then also, yeah, almost an admittance of not making reasonable decisions. Because, yeah, just as I said there, when you allow that to go off and go in the wrong direction, it's no longer helpful to you. It's not helping you focus. It's not helping you, pay attention to the unknown. It's just got you all squirrely. And then you got to make decisions based on that. And even then, they didn't have to make new decisions. They had plans, emergency plans. In fact, as I was going through the video yesterday, Tom Curry kind of fumbled when he asked the question to the mayor. The bridge has never been blocked by protesters before, correct? You would agree with me? And the answer was, well, actually, no, it has been. In something in the 80s, there was this incident, or maybe 90s, where it was blocked by protesters. So are you telling me after that event, there was no emergency preparedness plan created out of that event? Baloney. And then we actually heard, Terry, one of the best moments as well was they cleared the bridge. There was no property damage. It was his quote, and cleared without effort, really. It was another one of his quotes. So we had two pictures. One where we're the center of the economic universe for Canada and the world, and this one bridge is the super vital bridge that when it shuts down more than enough to do a marathon, then everything's going to fall apart. That was the first messaging. And then the second part was, we basically scooted them away. So pick a lane, pick a story, pick a narrative. They contradict, and he did a lot of that. But it was really a lot like listening to the OPS. A lot like the OPS, talking about resources and needing help. For what? If you listen to his numbers, it was like 5 cops per protester. So come on. I hope that we all can learn from the embellishment and the messaging that was coming out and bouncing around within these organizations. That's where you need some work. You need some level-headed, sensible people in there. You need a voice of reason, the sober second thought, right? That's what the Senate is. They need a sober second thought maybe in there. Not guiding or demanding, but thinking and reporting and providing. It was weird. But the truth is they actually had that. That was called the OPP. Okay. They just chose to ignore it. And that was also something we heard from this witness too. It started off with the whole, we didn't really work with the OPP, we circumvented the OPP, we didn't really call on them. And then at the end, it's like, well, when the OPP was involved and we were getting these reports and stuff like that, things were better. So again, it was really, really close to the OPS testimony, just a different day and condensed into a smaller version. It's only one here. All right. Enjoy, Barbara. I'm not sure I could deal with Alberta. Alberta's wonderful. All right. The cold is what makes us stronger. And frankly, Barbara, if there ever was some sort of, people wanted to come take over land because of our winter, we might be one of the last places people go. But that's fine with us. We're cool with that, pun intended. And we live just comfortably here. Just need to heat things up. That's all. Trucker phobia. Doot doot. Yeah. Yeah. Stunt. We should be at the end of that, I think, coming soon. And if there's a repeat, maybe we'll fix them. And sorry about the hair, folks. I'm on the edge of what I'm going to do with that. It's winter, so I prefer a little bit more fur on me because it helps. But there's a transition period where it just sticks out everywhere. So if you don't care, you don't mind, I'll just let nature take its course, and I want to be comfortable, but I don't want to distract you too much. -5 here. Go on. Yeah, winter's coming. Manitoba can get cold. Perry knows this. It can get cold. I did my high school days there. It can get cold. But again, just like Alberta, they're hardy. They can handle it. Lots of basement parties, lots of basement bands. That will happen in the cold there. Okay, let me just pull up this stream. It looks like I got one. I want to make sure we don't miss anything today. Do our very, very best. There we go. All right. Now you're stuck with me for another 8 minutes. The Azario. That was funny that they mentioned the bridge not handling the load. It's always backed up. 100% think the Fed spun them into rhetoric, and that's where the paranoid. Azario, I think what they're all stuck with at this stage, or like a lot of these officials are stuck with now, is the big fish. They all told a big fish story at the beginning to justify what was coming, and now they're stuck. They're stuck. So they're all going to go look for that extreme thread through the narrative that still gets them to the, yeah, we think you did the right thing. They're wrong. What they're doing is wrong, and they shouldn't do that. They should just be straight up and say, look, we thought a whole bunch were going to come. And when it didn't materialize, we were over prepared, and then we just dealt with it. Like, I would way more respect them if they came up and told us how, from their perspective, during the timeline, things were changing and they were responding. But no, they've got to, they're holding this ground hard. They're holding their line on this narrative because they kind of sort of have to now. Once you put the boot to the back of somebody, you can't really undo that easily and still save face. So it is bothering me a little bit that it's spun so much, and especially when you hear the government lawyers ask questions, that gets deflating for me because that's my government, my current government. I don't like to see that, but I get it. I understand why they're doing it. There's careers, there's a narrative, there's a bigger picture here. And they got to try and prop that up as much as they can. But that is the definition of House of Cards. That is what House of Cards means. And they always fall down. I don't remember if you were a kid, but I used to build a bunch, and they always fall down. They may look great from a strategic planning standpoint, but again, they always fall down. So they're building a House of Cards here. It's very flimsy, and it will fall down. If I was police lawyers, I would have raised following objection. To be clear, children are not at risk from our police force. Yeah, because that's kind of the inverse of the implied, isn't it, Goose? Hey, they're shields. Hey, they're using as defense. Hey, they can get hurt. Only if it's your intent to do that to them would you be correct, Mr. Police Officer. So yeah, in fact, Goose, I would have expected the Canadian Police Foundation lady to ask and clarify that, because it's actually her job to give the police forces Canada-wide, all her members, the best appearance and the best representation possible. So it's really her job in this particular inquiry to clean up any of these kind of statements that are made, to clean up and say, you didn't actually plan to charge at the crowd, did you? No, they weren't at the point where you were going to, move forward with, and then she can insert the name of a police term that means, advance. Were you? No. And you don't have a history of attacking children or innocent people, do you? No. Like, try and clean up the reputation of the police. I would have expected her to do that. And the Police Chiefs Foundation or Association is also representative and has standing as well. We've heard a couple questions out of them around PPS, Parliamentary Protective Services, and their actions. But this would have been another time where 5 minutes from them to try and correct the stereotype, or at least the insinuation that was just happening around police chiefs. Both of them have associations there to protect them. So Goose, yeah, good observation. And yes, that's the inverse of what they're implying there. For example, if they said, hey, we didn't want to gas children, it's like, well, hold on, you wanted to gas? Like, the fact that there were children there is what stopped you. You're right, Goose. Sometimes these witnesses, they don't think about what the inverse looks like when they speak. And then Dickens' rhetoric proves out mostly hyperbole. He's a slick politician. Sure, he was, but he's also the board chair for the Police Services Board. That guy wields a lot of power, and people go to him to get things done, as we heard from Stellantis, the $6 billion investment he was very pleased about hiding from everybody until later. Right? Oh, that's true. I didn't say anything defamatory. He told us that. He hid the deal from everybody at the time because he wasn't sure, for whatever reason, whether it was appropriate or not. But it was also the people calling him up and saying, hey, I'm going to join your narrative that large businesses like ours are heavily impacted by this shenanigans happening by these crazy Canadians. Thanks. So, yeah. And we also had a comment from one of my chatters. It was Clay or maybe, who pointed out how that's kind of like a security force for big business, isn't it? Is that what the police are? Security force for the big business? Sounded like it when they got a direct call to the mayor within an hour of the situation, and pushing and pressure. And he even used the words, there's lots of public pressure and political pressure. Well, he's talking about losing the $6 billion. Really? Stellantis is going to fold up shop and move everything because of a weekend of protesting on a bridge that was one of 4 main arteries into the area. Really? No, there's more going on here, folks. Freeland needed economic partners to cry wolf in order for her to be able to construct her international economic problems. This is what they're going to put as national security. The national security they're going to be painting later, I think, is not going to be what you think of security as, a threat to you, a physical in any way, shape, or form. They're going to be talking about national reputation, investability, and a global stage. Frankly, and firmly, our reputation is tainted, but it's because of the government, not because of anything else that happened in Canada. But yet they're going to do that, and they're going to say that's a national security, because if we can't trade and everybody stops liking us and nobody invests in us, everything comes to a halt. That will be, I think, what they paint as the national security, not a physical threat, because there wasn't one. It's going to be an economic boogeyman that we'll never, ever get to see. But the truth is, even if she does that, if that is the position, they are calling foul on their own work. We should be prepared for that. We shouldn't have that. If she's true, if that's true, everything she's saying is true, it's an admission on a failure on their part. So that's going to be a tough one to navigate, but we've watched OPS do that, kind of blame their own failures as an excuse. WPS did that, blame their own failures as an excuse. I would not be surprised if the cabinet does that. And they're not going to blame them for making the problem. They're certainly going to blame the kids that were holding hands and the Canada-only flags that were witnessed in Windsor. Let's not let them get away with it in the 45th. We're taking names, and we'll get back to that. Just like they did, they charged protesters after the fact, after it was done. They went back and looked at things and then found people and charged them. It's exactly what the 45th Parliament is. We'll go back over the records and everything that we have and dig even deeper and put some people under subpoenas and do some more work. This ain't over. And that's because Canada deserves to heal from this. We got to fix this scar. Windsor Mayor, total liar. I do have to agree with Goose on this one. I think the Windsor Mayor did do some perjury, only because he contradicted himself too. So it's pretty hard. So we got video. We're getting some audio. All right. Well, enjoy your morning. OPP Superintendent Dana Earley. Enjoy. Here we go. Here's the morning. Nice to meet you, Dana. Again, sounding like the OPP on the Ottawa side. Same story, same everything, except a little bit different on the narrative, which was Windsor has an impact on Ottawa. I got some good stars on here. You guys were keeping a keen eye on some of that narrative. Looks like Railroad is working on done. Jason Lavigne now has a Discovery server. Just like that. Just like that. All right. Railroaded, I'm behind you 100% on this. Let's do this. Let's get Discord going. I'll find out how to get streamed over there. We'll work this all out. And Railroaded, we also have another volunteer, tech one. She's offered her time as a tech. So I think that's going to help the team tremendously. Anybody else watching the stream or in the chat, you want to get involved? This is kind of like a little volunteer thing we're doing, getting the message out. It's a lot for one person. So Railroaded has been a champion for me. And there's been a few other people who've stepped up and said, hey, I want to just help. Let's get this message out. So if that's you and you want to do that, get in the chat, connect with Railroaded. Let's do this. Let's get everywhere. Happy to participate. Happy to do my part too. So let's do that. Thank you, Railroaded, for staying on top of me for that one. And James and everybody else. You guys are great. All right. We got 15 minutes. Let's recap quickly. There was a little bit there. There's a little bit there. Right. And again, sorry for the drop. We turned on too much power. Trying to get some water melted. My problems become your problems. Between Railroaded and other things, we're going to get that sorted. So my stream is more stable for you. We'll actually get that in place way before Justin and all that. So thank you for staying with me. I appreciate it tremendously. And yeah, that's what we were getting right away out of the gate from the superintendent here. They didn't follow procedures. It was weird that a politician is the one knocking on doors and getting things going. We heard that right away. We knew that because this has been the theme for Windsor and the mayor. But now we're getting it from the OPP. We're expecting that. This is just going around in circles. Same old, different day. Yeah, Dave. Yeah, Dave. This sounds a lot like the situation around OPP and Ottawa. So if you missed it yesterday, Dave is the same thing yesterday. Condensed version of Ottawa. City and OPS, WPS, it was the same thing. We didn't get a lot of new anything. And certainly nothing for the EA. Good morning, Ellen. The backhoes to dig up the well. 1 year. I think later you actually say 1 eye here, 1 eye there, and 1 eye in the U.S. elections. 3 eyes today, Ellen. Thank you for letting this stream be one of them. Appreciate that. Welcome. Welcome back. You've been here like the whole time. Terry, you're awesome. Another big message from you. Something needs to be said to these politicians and public servants. Your fear of fellow Canadians need to be tempered. It was and is not well-founded. Completely. Based on what? Like, based on what? We don't have a history. We don't have a history. And even, come on. We're at a different time. We're in a different era. The keyboard is mightier than the pen now. All right? People know that. People know that wholeheartedly now. And look, Jan 6, may not have been the best day for everybody, but one thing it certainly was a demonstration of restraint and nonviolence. Look, you can kind of blow that one out of proportion all you want, but 100 years ago, and that day would have been very different. 50 years ago, that day would have been very different. 30, 20 years ago, now we're starting to get into the more modern where you don't need violence. You just need a keyboard, okay? And of course, what are we expecting from Canada? Us to go down a hill of sliding into more violence that we've never done before? Keep in mind, Canada, the most violence that we have in Canada is government to people. There's a lot of organizations and groups of people that would certainly admit to that, and recent ones too. So look, based on what, Terry, right? Stop being scared of your fellow Canadians. There's no reason for it. We don't even have a history of doing that. Stop trying to say we're something we're not. Sad that fellow Canadians and our leaders and the ones elected into positions are the ones doing that. Stop being silly. Barbara, good morning. Good morning. Well, I know for sure the automotive manufacturing is just in time. So like Lear seeding makes seeds the day the other comes in and ships out the one day, okay, and installs into cars the next day. So I get why they are mad about it. Look, Barbara, for sure, look, and just in time does happen, but just in time does have buffers. They're not built to the hour. Okay, they're certainly built to the day, which is a huge advantage for just in time. Because back in the day, it used to be by the month or even the quarter where things are ordered and placed and stuff like that. But look, Barbara, not to the hour. And snowstorms, Niagara region is part of that massive snow belt, and if you live in Buffalo, you know what we're talking about here. Look, there's a whole whack of other ways around too. Bridge, tunnel, ships, train. There's a whole other mechanism to get everything around. So I do understand from the standpoint where if their just in time is messed up for a long period of time, that yeah, it absolutely can interrupt production. But Barbara, just in time also has emergencies and fail safes and redundancy built into it just for this reason, because you shouldn't allow a single event, even a prolonged one, to completely cripple your entire business. That's part of the just in time planning. It would be bad of them to have such a bad system in place. So I would say, yeah, I get it, but it's also they're blowing that horn way too early and too loudly. I think you can agree that a couple days in, blowing that horn with force, too early, too loudly. Maybe after a couple weeks, if they were really suffering at that point, the businesses, and maybe, but it's too early, too loud. Something's not cool. Hey, John. The unholy liberal NDP duel will be watching the American election today. The outcome will equate to their fate in the next federal election. Maybe, John, maybe. If you mean that there's a push more to Republican, conservative, right-leaning, if you mean that, maybe. But Canada is pretty distinct when it comes to, and we're far more left than even the U.S., so there's a lot less of the right conservative leaning side here in Canada. But is there going to be an influence? Will it maybe spark? Will it maybe ignite? Will it maybe inspire? If it does, great. Okay, but I don't think we need it. We don't need it to happen in order for us to also have that spark and ignite and go ahead and fix things up. But look, it's going to be interesting. And already both sides said, regardless of the outcome, I'm not going to be happy and accept. So we'll see where this heads. My hope is it doesn't go all kooky and crazy. But, we'll see. We'll see. It's always an interesting situation down there and worth keeping an eye on. But whether or not it has a major influence on us, I don't know. I don't know. But it's worth watching, right, John? Hey, stunt. Oh, no, not slow roll. It's like an everyday traffic jam, except it moves faster. Yeah, this is like the next domestic terrorist movement thing. It's slow rolling. You got it, stunt. You get it. Soon it will be you can't walk slowly on sidewalks in a protest. Watch out, QP and all the other unions. You guys do a lot of this stuff. I have had to go past and try and get around and stuff on picket lines. You guys block and are aggressive. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's what we all deal with. Hey, John. She's keeping an increased cadence in her delivery, obviously rehearsed. The OPP has spent big money on this quota promoted individual. This is the one who will replace Sneaky Creaky. Don't know about the quota promoted comment. You know, it's a pretty common stereotype about police. I don't know if it's true or not. It might be in certain situations, but overall, I don't think it's relevant here. But what is relevant to me here, John, is yeah, she is rehearsed, and prep is something that happens, and she's probably sat in a court quite a few times. You know, speeding tickets, etc. So she's used to this process. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just paying attention to what she says, and right now she's corroborating a lot of things we thought, and no bombshells yet, other than she didn't need the EA, never did, and she won't need it in the future either. But yeah, okay, she's rehearsed. I would say prepped would be the word I'd use there, John, because she should be. A police versus convoy hockey game would be fun, wouldn't it? Street ball, even. You don't even need ice. Just do it in the street. Block off half of downtown. Do it. That would be a wonderful thing. Let's get back to having some fun. You can compete, but let's have some fun too. And you know what? Convoy would be up for that 100%. Honk honk. And I would bring the black and white shirt, and I would be the referee, right? Whistle blow and make sure everybody stays cool. All right. Railroaded, thumbs up for truth. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Railroaded. Yeah, please. And thanks again for sticking around when it goes dark. Really appreciate that. If you saw what I had to do to get to that one, because the wood pile way far from... anyways, I sprinted for you. Morning, Jason chat from a snow-covered Victoria. Hey, Bright Wheel. Really nice to see you. Welcome back. And good morning, friends. Hi, Denise. Didn't want to miss you. Welcome back, Denise. And please, yeah, if you want, I won't take offense to it. If you want to keep the inquiry in another window or something like that, and then on their break, you jump back here to find me so you don't get interrupted. Look, I won't take any offense to that. You'll miss all my funky head movements and stuff when I'm reacting to things. But look, I wouldn't take offense to that. Or if you want to stick with me and then have it ready, so when it does go black, you can jump over quickly. Again, thank you very much for doing what you can to stick around for the commentary part, and I appreciate that. I am sorry. I can be 90%, and I'm happy with that if you are. And Goose, drink forever unified. Yeah, add that to the drinking term. Add that to the drinking term. We say that a lot here. Unified command, unified instructions, unified orders, unified strategy. Unified. I don't mind that word if it also means unified Canada. Right, Goose? I lied. One eye. Here you go. One eye there, and another one. Which is the center eye? You know, the one straight to the brain. Is that us? Or the election? Or the well? Because it's very important. Enjoy your day, though, Ellen. I hope it goes well. And a hand pump is a great backup option, right? Just ours covering again. Yeah, we saw this yesterday too, right? Some of them needed a room. They were covering so much ours and happy to do it. But no one of them has the balls to admit it's shame on them all. Yeah, Dave, I'm 100% with you on that one. I prefer atonement. I prefer people taking accountability because that I can understand, that I can get behind. And as long as we're making progress and learning, I think we all support that. But if we want to sidestep, jump over, or just skip that step altogether, where's the lesson? You can expect some more if there's no lesson, right? And then Goose, PLT, yeah, police liaison team. The OPP were known for it, great for it. It's a way to talk to people when you actually intend to work with the people. PLT is something I think we're going to see on the federal government level now. Well, some sort of LT, GLT or something like that. For the sole purpose of dissent conversation. When there's something that's not regular and the people are upset about something, exactly for that point. But we may get a national LT or a national PLT instead of a government one. It might be a national police with a PLT. Let's see where this LT stuff goes. What's a subject matter expert? Somebody who's very good at a certain thing. So I am a subject matter expert in cloud infrastructure and technology. So if somebody needed an SME for cloud infrastructure and technology, they could call me because of my experience and exposure and proven ability in it. It makes me an expert. And then the subject matter part is just something specific. You're probably a subject matter expert in a whole whack of things, Goose. All right, Jason Lavigne, Discord, really? Yeah, we're going to get on Discord. Okay, look, too many times it popped up. I'm really trying to. I don't want you to have empathy for me because I am very proud to be bringing all this to you. But the inquiry does take up a good chunk of the time, and there's just not enough in the middle of stuff to really get involved in a little project. So thank you, Railroaded, for kickstarting that one. And I will contribute. I'll find a way to get the stream there, et cetera, et cetera. We will set this up in a way where we can have the maximum reach. But thank you all for being here at the beginning and starting. I have a feeling that if we put enough work into this, Railroaded, we've got something special here. You're special. So very pleased that you're around helping. Hey, Blue Love Bug 93. Nice to meet you. Yep, 100%. You got it. You know it. But I also want to say hi. I don't think I recognize that name yet. Welcome. Hey Terry. So a union threatens to do something to clear protesters if police don't. Unions are becoming a hot topic with what this QP fiasco. Their demands are so insane, who knows what they can expect to achieve. Well, here's the thing about negotiation, Terry. So you say their demands are insane at this point, but did you watch Modern Family? There's an episode where, what's his name? They were doing a renovation. They were making a house, Cameron. And then he said, listen, the right way to negotiate is you come in big and then you negotiate down to where you want to be. Because if you come in where you want to be, you're going to be negotiating down to where you don't want to be. So unions know this trick. Government knows this trick. Lawyers know this trick. Anybody that gets into mediation, negotiation knows this trick. Come in big, be happy to compromise, and then you'll get closer to what you want. So their demands may seem insane, but it's by design because they're willing to negotiate back from them. Sometimes, but sometimes it's just a tough one. Unions were a necessary process of our system at some point because we had a really weak legal system. But I'm wondering if the legal system's caught up. Maybe it needs a little bit more, and then the legal system can protect employees and people a little bit better. And maybe unions won't be as needed soon. But look, right now we still have them. Whether you like them or not, they do have a function. They do have members. And the real way to get rid of unions, if you really felt that way, would to be stop being a member. They would vote by membership. So as long as they still exist, that's a choice people are making. It interferes with a whole whack of things. And it's interesting how QP is not listed with Diagonalon or Farfada, because just like them, they have a membership in a group that gets involved and gets passionate about stuff. And it's not stuff the government's going to want, right? The government would like everybody to just get back to work and do what they want. So is QP now on the same list? Because they're nonviolent, right? Nonviolent, just like Diagonalon and Farfada. So I'm not saying it's a bad group to be part of. I guess so, right? QP is the same type of thing. We're going to see their leader during this. And anybody know if the unions actually had any involvement in the convoy either way? Were members there? Was it supported or was it decried? Anybody know? I know that the trucker unions, some of the bigger ones, were not for the convoy. So I wonder if there's any others that follow that path. Hey, Goose. They did not try at that first. No attempts were made to reach out to the protesters. They were ignored, and if anything, inflamed as much as possible. Yeah, well, both of that, half and yes, sort of, Goose. So the PLTs, OPP were dispatched, but WPS, the Windsor City of Windsor, and that side of the team, the mayor, yeah, you're right. They didn't really do that. This is going to be a whole story about, hey, we learned lessons, and next time we will kind of follow the OPP procedures and the way they do things. But they're going to say, but at the time we made different decisions. And yeah, that group definitely ignored, and they were very ear to the business, not to the people. So they weren't ignoring everybody. They were ignoring small business and people. Okay, here you go. Enjoy this next little batch. It should be it should be at least 2 hours until lunch. So
the
enjoy.
commission is reconvened. The commission reprend.
Okay, go ahead.
Get an extra long lunch, do we? Working hard? Oh, look at that hair. Look at that hair. Sorry to all of those that are new. I'm looking like a freak today. All right, cool. All right. Well, there you go. There's the morning. There's that witness. She is done. Dana Earley, Superintendent. All done. First thing I want to announce is we're on Discord now. We're streaming right now. So if you find my channel or server or whatever they're called on Discord, thanks to Railroaded, we're there now. Go ahead and join us there. Become friends there. Let's chat there. Let's get Discord going. Thank you to everybody who helped me with that. Right. All right. So I got like 50 starred messages to go through. I don't know if I have a guest or not today. Let me go check my messages. I may or may not. Nope. Too much snow. All right. Very good. Too much snow for that guest. All right. Well, didn't get any better. Didn't get any worse. It kind of stayed the same. Tom tried to put some words into her mouth there. 3 times he asked her, when you say we, you mean the group, not you. And 3 times she said no, she meant her. She meant her was in charge. I don't know why that mattered to him so much, but he was really trying hard on that one. You liking it so far, this particular witness? Well, so far she's done now. No revelations. They're very scared of children. And you know, she really didn't come in harsh on the WPS. And why didn't the convoy ask any questions? There's a couple that you could have asked. Maybe around the actions happening sooner, or clarifying the 13th. It was clear, not the 14th, as you'll see in the stars. Government of Canada kind of did a lawyer trick there to try and trick people. We'll get to that message in a minute. All right, here we go. So Bright Wheel, welcome, bud. So you're not allowed to protest because you parked your car illegal. They're doing everything they can to try and use unlawful and quasi-criminal provincial stuff, traffic stuff. Come on, people. Big stretch, right, Bright? Big stretch. She certainly likes her lingo. I have no idea what she is saying. Yeah, WPS, PPS, OPP, RCMP, and then they got their own lingos too. Yeah, for sure. And when witnesses do that, what they're trying to do is they don't care about demystifying. They actually want to cause more confusion. And a lot of times people will kind of just submit to an expert when they start doing that, and then take everything they say as truth. That's when you should actually heighten your senses and pay close attention to what they're talking about, because it's probably a lot of BS, and then you can say WTF on a lot of it, because that's what they do. They get all techie, they get all lingo-y, and that's just to confuse the audience, really. It happens. A good lawyer will get them to backtrack and break it down a bit more and explain some more. And had a hectic day at work yesterday, was listening but could not chat. Hey, to everybody that keeps us in their ear at work and whatnot, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you're listening. And thank you for coming back to the chat when you can, Bright. It's awesome. All right, Dave, this has nothing to do with the EA. What do they think? We are stupid? Yes and yes. Yes, this has nothing to do with the EA, and yes, they think we're stupid. 50% of people are below average. That's the definition of average. 50% are above average. You know, that means there's a lot of people who don't pay attention, not interested, and get on with their day. And maybe that's who they're appealing to, because those are, you know, tidbit little nuggets of info and CBC people. So maybe it's just for them there, Dave. Hey, Goose. Journalist, three weeks of this is going to be a long haul. Yeah, I think we're on like 2 weeks of grinding it, and then the last week should get exciting again, because we got all the ministers, including JT and Freeland. As long as there's no COVID going around the office, maybe we should get them all. But yeah, the next 2 weeks is going to be a bit of a grind, because what they're going to do is grind the narrative so much. You're going to hear what you heard today and yesterday repeated multiple times, except for maybe Alberta. Alberta will be next. So we're going to hear from Coots in Alberta. Of course, there will be people there. And I'm actually quite curious on how that narrative is going to roll out of Alberta. It will be interesting to see for sure if Alberta is supporting the narrative that they believed it was a national emergency too, or if they're going to be far more level-headed and explain how, other than the guns showing up at the end, there was no real major concern for anything there. And even the gun, we can talk about that one a bit later, the guns. Has anyone been catching committee around the EA? James, thanks for highlighting this again. And maybe they put it all on the same time period on purpose, so it's hard for us to watch both. James, please keep me abreast on some of that. I haven't been watching it too much, but my response to you is I haven't been able to keep up with it, but they're still running with the narrative there. To hear that OPP commissioner said national security for sure, absolutely, means they're just saying what they want to hear there. And I don't really think we're going to get much out of this inquiry. We're going to have to do another one and at least have another one in the 45th, but ideally with a bunch of independents also at the table, so that you can get some real questions and real answers out of it. I don't think any inquiry in this current House 44th committee inquiry investigation is going to be a good one or honest. And I don't mean honest as in they're going to try and lie. I just mean they're not going to put their honest effort into it because they got to expose themselves. What do you expect? Thanks, Railroaded. I'm glad I caught your link. Share for here the other night. Yeah, welcome, Blue Love Bug 93, friend of Railroad. It's a friend of ours. Hong Kong. Welcome. Hey, Wayne. Thanks. It's nice to see you again, bud. I think we missed you yesterday, so I hope you're feeling great and better. And thanks for joining us today. It has been an intense 3 weeks so far, and the next, see what will come for the next. Yeah. And while really I didn't know how to function in that weather. Really, minus 20 Celsius would do you in, Wayne? I get it. I've been to UK a lot. You're pretty mild there. The weather's pretty mild compared to what we have in Canada. So I used to live in Winnipeg. So Winnipeg would get, minus 40 would happen there, Wayne, and then close to positive 40. At least minus 35 and minus 30 or plus 35 would definitely happen every year. So Winnipeg had a 70-degree range in what you can expect for temperature there. Alberta, northern Alberta, central Alberta is not quite as hot. We haven't had anything as hot as Winnipeg, but certainly as cold. And today was one of those days, minus 20. But here's the thing, Wayne, and I'll tell you a story, and anybody in Winnipeg or in the prairies or anybody in a cold area will know this. We had a real big cold snap for a while in Winnipeg. Like 2 weeks, it was routinely dropping to minus 40, to minus 35, minus 40. It was routinely doing that. And if you're a kid, you know about the whole trick about spitting on the bus shelter freezes instant. It's kind of neat. But Wayne, when it suddenly went to minus 20, it was a heat wave. It totally felt warm outside. Still minus 20. We felt like t-shirts. It really was that warm after having minus 40 for so long. It felt tremendous walking outside in minus 20. Not many people will be able to say that and actually truly mean it. But if you're in Winnipeg and Saskatchewan and Alberta, you know what I mean. The sun shining, minus 20 can be balmy. It really can be. Hey, Wayne. Thanks, bud. Dave, they did not want the plan to go forward in Windsor because they needed that for the EA, and it did not like what she said, or they did. Yeah, did you hear that part? There was talk about slowing down and waiting, and why? Like, she's not part of those conversations. But yeah, Dave, good catch. At no point would a national security issue have two things that we heard this morning. One, the ability to pause and wait, and two, to go to sleep and wake up in the morning. What would that book look like on Canada, the War of 2022? What would that look like? Everybody went to bed, got up at 9. This is so not an emergency. Hey, Dave. She just said it. The letter had no effect, and they did not give up. They wanted to bust heads. Yeah, there's some rural talk. Even it sounds like Ford stick a wire brush up there. Was that a quote from Ford talking to Premier JT? Yeah, I want that copy of that document. I know that you put it into our research part of the Discord server now. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that document. That document had some pretty astonishing statements from both sides in there. I got a sticker sent to me in Discord. I'm a somebody now. Thanks, RR. Agree with how traditionally to negotiate, but never this insane. Yeah, so that in the previous break, the morning break, we were talking about negotiating and how it should be done properly. And I guess Terry caught that part and agreed. We don't do negotiations proper anymore. That over the top and then be happy with the middle type of negotiation is pretty standard. And I think this came up because we were talking about how extreme they were going to go with the demands. But anyway, all good. Negotiate. Get your way through it. It's totally possible. Eleanor, I got a sticker from you too. Hey, Eleanor, if you're the Eleanor from the email yesterday and you're now in Discord, happy to make you a mod and get you involved and assist with that. There's a way to put the stream in that maybe we can talk about. But Eleanor, if that's you, connect with RR. Yeah, RR. Yeah, RR. If you know Eleanor, connect. I would love Eleanor to get more involved. She offered her time, which is great. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Joe, welcome. Good day, peeps. -18 and sun is shining. Yep, sun is out for me too. We're charging. The batteries are getting a charge. We're running on solar power, so no generator hiccups today. Let's keep it that way. Good stuff. Sunny days are here. Hey, Blue Love Bug. Thank you. It's been great meeting you. Oh, cool. I've followed Stunt Dummy since the convoy. Thanks to Railroaded. I joined you all the other night. Yeah, thank you, Railroad, for spreading the word. Blue Love Bug spreading the word. Bring your friends. We're not like all the others. A little bit calmer, a little bit more legal, a little bit more rational. I'm not saying the other ones aren't. I'm just the other ones certainly have a lot other excitement involved in their streams and stuff. And for some people, that works great. Here, we're just trying to navigate through this mess the best we can and keep a level head about it. Because then strategically, 4D chess, we're doing, I think, a lot better when it comes to thinking this through. So thank you very much for sticking around there, Blue Love Bug. Hey, Dave, lots of chats from you today. Are these commission people trying to get the truth or just help the cops cover their butts? Hey, Dave, so the commission council, I'm finding them, they're pretty good at navigating in between. They're not really trying, in my opinion, to do much of a narrative, but sometimes it does seem like it with the questioning. And it could be they're trying to pull out those little nuggets that the other people spoke about, like how great everybody is, to see if there's cooperation here too. And they really should be re-asking a whole bunch of questions that we've heard from other people. So it may sound like placating a bit, but I can't really accuse them of taking a side yet. Okay. Especially, they kind of have two lawyers who are doing a lot of work. And Kim, I think his name was Kim or Lee. He's really good at navigating right down the middle. Hey, John. This OPP uses the word we consistently, an indication she had little to do with the actual policing operation. Weird how you caught it here that she was doing that, and then later she was doing more me's and we's. And even Tom Curry tried to get her to go back to the we like she was doing here. And you're right, John. Usually that's an indicator of a follower, not so much a leader, because they are using the group more than standing on their own 2 feet. So good catch there. Later, she does stand up to Tom when he tries to say it was like the we is us. And she's like, no, the we in this one was me. So maybe she's selective on the we me's. Hey, Clay. How you doing, bud? It's a weird contrast hearing the heavy use of we after she's already said all her plans. Yeah, see how she goes back and forth. So you caught, Clay, how she was using the me's, and then it goes to the we's as I think it was John or Terry just caught, and then back to the me's later when Tom Curry comes up. I like consistency in people. Stick to one perspective and run with it. Okay. Hey, John. More from John. The government lawyer should do her job and refocus the witness to what did you do? Okay, so I'll take the second half in a second. It's not the government lawyer. That's the committee council. I guess you can call them government because, yeah, they are paid and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think they are federal employees or anything like that. I'm not sure. But it's best to kind of look at them as the committee council, because Government Account Canada also has another group of lawyers there who, as you saw, are far more vigorous on trying to put that narrative down where invisible boogeymans and potential problems are rampant and need response. Cute. Another one from John. Absolutely. They are all team players, not public servants. Yeah, you're noticing that too, John. Yeah, they're a group, they're a club, they're brotherhood, right? The police. They don't really see themselves as public servants. They see them as public heroes almost, right? They know better. The public doesn't. We need to do things like remove an artery for the locals in order to take care of the business and the through traffic of the trucks, things like that. That's not local service or public service. So maybe they think of themselves as public heroes, some of them. And is it a culture that's rampant in that organization, policing? And how would be a centralized one be any better for us? I kind of like the diversity of local police officers. I kind of like that. I kind of like them being little islands that work together. That's where I'm at for that one. I prefer them to be more independent than go centralized. And you can imagine the next inquiry, if something goes wrong with that, they're going to blame the centralization of being the confusion. There was like a single message when there was a lot of different stuff coming in, and Central didn't collect it all and didn't. That's where we're going to be headed with this. Are they setting us up that if there ever was a force that came in, a rogue state, that we would just be done? Like, are they setting us up to fail for that? Maybe. I'm not saying intentionally, but some of this talk wouldn't make us stronger. I don't think it would make us stronger. I think the idea of having multiple police forces working independent is also a good way to take on any national that actually truly happened. Traffic congestion is not a reason for Emergency Measures Act, David. Yeah, for sure. For sure. The fact that there's even violence wouldn't be it, David. You know that. No existing laws. That's the standard. And also, I looked at the Canadian Constitution Foundation for a video. They haven't done a video in a week. They didn't do a single video for the convoy. Maybe they're doing something bigger, because I know that they are on the side of freedom and they're working hard. But we'll keep an eye out for another video from her. Christine, you're doing a great job. Let's do some more. They should not be allowed to add any more than what they said in their statements. Okay, so Dave, what you're responding to here, I believe at the time I started this, was, would you like to add anything else to your testimony? Question at the very end. Very, very normal, very standard, very useful, actually, because sometimes the lawyers can't get everything out, and sometimes the witness does have more to say. And we saw that utilized quite well with the convoy organizers, and James Bauer and even Daniel Bufford did a good job on using that little piece at the end. And then Chris Deering for sure did. Sometimes we'll get more out of them than you want to hear, but it also works both ways. So pretty common, and we do want to hear everything, don't we? Even if they're going to spit truth or spit lies. We want to hear them both, because if it's truth, great, we'll be able to use that for later. And if it's lies, great, we'll be able to come back to that later. So let them talk, as far as I'm concerned there, Dave. The more the merrier. How exactly are dynamics violent? Yeah, I didn't like that term at all. The dynamics were violent? It was a dynamic violence? Violent dynamics? Something along those lines? How was dynamic violent? They are so misusing the word. And this is also where I did want Brendan to go up. I did want Brendan to say to this police officer, under CSIS section 2 point whatever, what's the definition of violence? Get her to say, yeah, okay, well, that's not the definition we were using here. When you say there's violence on the bridge, is this the violence you're talking about, or some other version of violence? Really would have liked to seen you up there, Brendan, and reemphasize that as often as you can, especially if the witness just casually said violence. Brendan, take the 10 minutes, go up there, send Bathsheba, I get her name right. Bathsheba. Yeah, Bathsheba. Send her up. Just keep repeating that question over and over again. Also keep repeating was there a tyrannical, like the list that you did on your opening statement of all the different things the EEA. If you don't have anything else to say, Brendan, just do that. Just go up there and get another witness to say there was no attack on the government according to the definition of the EEA. If that's all you got for a witness, do that. And I don't care if we hear that 40 more times. do that, because I think we need to get reminded after every witness that this is what we're here for, Brendan. So if you got nothing else, at least go for that. And if they use the word violence, get them to restate the ceases violence definition again. It may seem repetitive, but they're also doing it repetitive, Brendan. They're repetitively putting in the false violence narrative in. So you need to repetitively attack it and defend it and get rid of it. So please don't do another no questions from the convoy again. At least go up there, no matter who the witness is. Get them to give the true definition of violence, and then give the a chance for everybody to understand that they're using a new definition of violence. At least that, please. Okay. Dave, there's going to be law against taking kids to demos. Yeah, I know. We went back and forth about that's not a charter thing. And you're 100% right, Dave. That's probably what they want. They want a whole bunch of things that are charter violations. If you heard Tom Chump a while ago, he was asking for a trigger in the Police Services Act under Article 9, which is taking over the local police force. But he wanted a trigger that made it non-voluntary to the local police force. Okay. They want a lot of things that are not going to be cool with a lot of people. We'll see where they go with that. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, they want to do a whole whack of things. No trucks allowed. No farm equipment. Boy, they really harp on this farm equipment like we're talking about massive pieces of equipment that doesn't have wheels or something. They talk about farm equipment like it's the new army. It's weird. But I guess if you're in a city and you see a big Holbein tractor, it could be intimidating to you, I guess. But yeah, we went from trucks being weapons with ex-councillor Fleury to now farm equipment in Windsor being such a dramatic change in the types of protests they see. Come on. You guys are being so sensitive on purpose. I don't think you actually feel that way at all. Hi, Dave. The charter. Oh, yeah. So, Dave, we covered this. Yeah. Sorry about starting that one. Oh, yeah. And then just like all good, almost a civil war, everyone goes home to sleep at home. So we heard this in Ottawa as well. They would stop the protesting, stop the fighting. I mean, the police would stop. They would go back to bed and then come back at 9 a.m. They would put up barriers. Nobody crashed or did anything to those barriers overnight. And then here in Windsor, we're doing the same thing. So the way they're painting this picture, and we even heard the word civil war come up yesterday. If we were so close to civil war, why are people going to bed? Why are the children only hanging out certain times? Why are you acting surprised that no children are there at 4 a.m.? Come on. Do you know how silly you sound? Do you know how silly you sound, Government of Canada, for that one, man? No children at 4 a.m.? Why would that be? She's asking. Well, they're asleep. You're silly. Right, Jason, called for darkness. Yeah, Ellen, you got it. None of this matters at all. All that matters is the bridge was cleared by 9:12 a.m. Friday 13th. We saw the document. Completely cleared, no obstruction, all blockades gone. This date comes important, doesn't it? It comes to be very important. Hey, Dave. No, I know the charter. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, Dave, we did clarify that. And yeah, I wasn't trying to say you didn't know that the charter. I was saying good luck to them for trying to implement the rule you thought they were going to bring in. It wasn't challenging your understanding of the charter. I was saying good luck to them to violate it or attempt to violate it. Yeah, see, Dave, there we go. That one's completely done now. Shouldn't public safety be her? Oof, typo there. Number one concern, not the road. Incredible question. And who was it? Was it the Government of Canada or right after that? Might have been Peter Slowly, Tom Curry. I actually asked a question. Was your number one concern the flow of traffic or something like that? The traffic. It was related to the road and the traffic. And then she said, yes, my number one concern was doing that. Public safety is your number one concern, first and foremost, always. So I know you're trying to be cute by saying my number one concern was my mission, but that's not. You're a public servant, protect and serve. Your number one mission is the public safety. Don't forget that, Officer Dana. Don't forget that. Are you discussing jurisdiction of the 400 series? No, John, there was a joke there going around because somebody wanted to make a connection between Ottawa and Windsor. And I said, oh, you both have a 400 highway. There's a connection. Case closed. EA is necessary. I was going that way with the joke. Not a good joke, but That's what I was going with that, because they're trying to tie it all together, right? They're talking about convoy organizers being involved, and then that got blown away. Then it was convoy people are going back and forth, and that got blown away. And then they were saying that the police officers were going back and forth. And that got blown away even. And then we also heard, I think it might be a star later, that they had plenty of resources in Windsor. Tom Curry got them to admit that. Plenty of resources, everything they needed. Could call and get. They had no resource issues. I think Tom Curry kind of forgot about the main narrative on whether or not even slowly had all the resources available to him. So I'm not sure why Tom is the one trying to paint a picture of unlimited resources available to the police. Oh, and the National Police, I got the list here. Disappointed in her again. National Police Federation. Once again, you missed your chance to step up, spend 5 minutes clarifying the reputation of the police in this. Not sure why you're not doing that. Isn't that why you're there? Yeah, there we go, John. I was making the joke. It was just a joke. Trying to connect it to you. Not very good at the joke sometimes. So, Dave, if they had threats, then there must be evidence. So, yeah, 100%, Dave, all the way through this, especially the Windsor one, 100% through this. And hey, there's nobody representing Windsor residents and businesses, much like Tom Champ. Why is that, Tom? Why don't the residents of Windsor have any complaints? You can make a complaint out of anything, Tom. So surprised you're not down there too. But yeah, 100%, Dave. Where's this immovable crowd that you needed everybody for? Where's this violence and this everything that the police have said? Where are the photos? Where's the video? It's incredible that it's not coming forward. Or is it, Dave? Is it because there is no compelling video to fit the narrative? That would be exactly my guess on this one. Because the pictures we did see and the video we did see is not showing what they're talking about. Quite the opposite. So many threats, but 100%, Dave. You just give me one picture. Give me one picture of a violent. Give me one video of somebody being cuffed because they're being violent. Give me one picture of the police being overwhelmed. None of that happened. Never existed. Exactly, Dave. They don't even have a photo. You got it, bud. And also they keep saying there's a potential for violence over and over and over and over and over again. But there's also a potential for peace. Every situation, it should be the default. The assumption is there's a potential for peace here until we actually see more than just indicators, but we actually see action. That grumpy guy with that jacket might be the biggest cuddly bear you've ever met. You don't know. But the potential for peace is also there, Government of Canada. There's also a potential for change. There's also a potential for democracy. There's a potential for a lot of things that are not on the table. You only want to focus on one. Yeah, you just showed your cards. Peaceful until proven otherwise. That is innocent until proven guilty, right, Clay? Fundamental natural law, justice, innocent until proven guilty. Would that also not be peaceful until proven violent? Be the same philosophy. Clearly, when you get to an authoritative dictatorship in your mind, you don't care about innocent until proven guilty because you're the judge, jury, and prosecutor. You've already made that decision. So due diligence isn't, due procedure isn't something that you're very keen on. And it comes out in everything they say. Potential for everything bad is all they want to talk about. Potential for great too. Potential for excellent protests that had no violence and the message got clearly articulated. Potential for all of that too. Wow. Honk Army loves you, Jason. Railroad. Love you. Love you and the whole group, the Army, even the watchers, even the witnesses, even the spectators, even the critics. Love you all, because this is what makes up one heck of a community where we are very keen on making sure that we get to the bottom of things and pay attention to the real world. So thank you, Railroaded. Love you too. Hey, Clay. That's awesome. Honk, honk. Got the horn there. You guys are great. Can't wait to meet some of you in real life. There we go. Government's quote at the end of her chatty testimony question period. On the 13th or 14th was when the bridge was cleared. Threw in there on the or 14th. It wasn't the 14th. It wasn't. In fact, you should have said 13th, 14th, or 15th, because 15th would have been far closer to the need for an EA if any of that was true. It was cleared on the 13th, 9:12 a.m. The report was clear, definitive, no damage, no fighting. It was easily cleared. Okay? Stop it, Canada. You're embarrassing yourself by trying to twist actual facts right on the record. Embarrassing. James, that statement about strategic relates to the committee hearing where Carrick insisted that strategically the truckers were a threat to national security. Yeah, but he hasn't defined or told us how he feels that way. He did talk about economic when he was here at the inquiry. And he did say things along the lines like, economically, it becomes a national security issue. Okay, Mr. Kirk, Officer Kirk, Commissioner Kirk, I'd like to see your MBA. Give me some economic training, something. And then once you've got that, based on what? So what information are you getting that justifies your thinking? Based on what? What report came out of the government of Canada in 3 days that scared everybody completely? Right? Based on what? I know Freeland's going to be telling you the entire world was shaking her head at Canada, and economically that was going to be a big problem. And Mr. Kirk, maybe that's what you believed. Maybe that's the spoon feeding that you received and you believe. I hope one day, because you had such high integrity, that you actually sit down and take a look at that a little bit further and then correct yourself for jumping in so quickly on any narrative that you have no idea what you're talking about. Shame on that. Good job on running your team, but shame on following a narrative that you don't understand. Maybe that will be the big lesson for you, Mr. Kirk, or Commissioner. She seems not too happy with his tone and direction of his questioning thoughts. Yeah, so Terry, you're talking about Tom. So Tom came in a little bit harsher and then softened up a bit. I wasn't sure where he was going with any of it. I don't know why Tom was even talking to her, but he was. He did more talking to her than the Freedom Convoy. The Freedom Convoy should have spoken to her a bit, get some of her definitions of violence and requirement of the EA on the record. It's a feeling I get as well, Dave. Yeah, I think you guys are going back and forth on that one. Oh, sorry, he's putting words in her mouth. He did. He even said that we thing 3 times. He directly asked if she meant we or you. And she kept saying, well, the me. I don't know why that was so important to him. It's not going to change anything there, Peter. Oh, sorry, it's Peter slowly. Tom, going to change anything, Tom? My protest is bigger than yours, ours. There was some weird questioning going on about not necessarily the biggest protest in Windsor, but the biggest one she's been part of or command of or assigned to. He used that wording specifically in order to narrow down so that she can only focus in on the ones that she has experience on. But he's using that as a narrative for all of Windsor. And no, this was a tiny, tiny protest compared to a lot of the things we've seen before. They cleared it quickly, according to them. And Terry, hey, Dave, I think Curry just figured out he has to break the tension with her. Yeah, so at the end there, he was kind of doing that. He wasn't on her case as much. Yeah, that's Tom's style, I guess. I like this line from Clay. The left hand in Ottawa didn't know what the right hand was doing in Windsor. And should they? Should they even care? They're just 2 different events. The only thing that's really common about them is Canadians and protesting. It's about all that's common there. So yeah, it's funny. The left hand's not doing. And then who's in the center? What's Coots? What's Coot? Big toe? There's a disconnect there too. And then making sure slowly does not escape. Okay, Terry. Yeah, I think maybe that's what Tom was doing there. But why was he pushing the resources were like unlimited for Windsor? I don't know. I don't know what Tom's thinking there. And sometimes lawyers go up and they don't even know what they're doing. They're just getting some questions out and kind of working the situation a little bit. But even sometimes they don't know what they're doing. All right. See how effective he is with his abrasive style. Yeah, not as abrasive as David W, though, or David M. from OPS. Yeah, he can be abrasive. And I didn't see Champ there at all. Wow, he's now his default is Chump. I didn't see Paul Champ there anymore. His seat was empty. When they said we have no questions, he wasn't there. Now it could have been because he had no questions and he took off early for lunch or whatnot. But I haven't seen him today. So if you've seen him and spot him in a video, let me know. I haven't seen him today. Not like I miss him or anything, but I haven't seen him. All right. And a little message to Wayne, Prairie, and Stunt. Railroaded might have to jump off a couple of times today. So if you see sex bots, go ahead and deal with them. All right. So here we are. I'll just go through the rest now because we got a long lunch hour. This fella is going to bury himself, actually. Going to bury himself eventually. Who, Tom? I think Tom's doing a good job. Not sure what he was up there. Hey, RR. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Cheers. I'm not sure what comment brought that on, but love you too. Glad you guys are enjoying something a little bit more calm. If you want yelling, you can Louder with Crowder and half a dozen other ones. If you want fast chatty, there's Ben. Not very much Canadian there. If you want in-depth legal crazy hair, there's Viva, but he's outside of Canada now, doing his thing. JJ McCullough's pretty cool. But I'm not sure who else is out there because I do seek it as well. So I'm very thankful that my chat is helping me learn more things too. Because I don't find a stream that I would be appealed to. There's a lot of good information, but I don't know, maybe I'm a little sensitive. I don't need to be yelled at all day long. I want to learn the information. FYI, that's me. Yeah, broadcasting live on Discord right now. I see a lot of Discord messages and stickers and stuff. I'll get used to all that, but I learned how to put the stream on, so we'll keep that going. Warts and all. And hey, that's kind of my channel, right? Warts and all. I'm not perfect. It goes down, it goes black. I leave the microphone on, we get a reverb. I have my phone with audio because I was trying to stay with the stream while I was remote or running around, and then it's feeding the microphone. So thank you all for running with me, warts and all. That could be the name of the channel, warts and all. And good job, RR. Yeah, just rocking it. I first said 3 weeks, and RR said 3 minutes. We're up in 3 minutes. Good job. She is a star. And a very good human being too. And Juice, you're a lucky dude. I just found out yesterday. Juice and RR. Good little couple there. You don't be giving up your stars. Ha! No, you earned them. RR. You earned a bunch of stars. Sharing is caring. Yep. And thank you all for your help. Amazing people around here just volunteering their help. Thank you. I do love you all, and I do appreciate it. Every little bit helps. Thank you. Join his research team. Yeah, please do. And because we want to keep the research going, and this is a great way to do it. A lot of people are comfortable with Discord. That's great. We're just going to start expanding on that one now too. All right. Morgan, there's a new name. Let's see what this is. Night, I'm on. All right. I think he works for the police. He's using the lingo, and that all means something to them. Hey, Morgan. Nice to meet you. Hey, Jeff. Facebook. Still no evidence. They needed the War Measures Act, and calling it by any other name is so lame. Absolutely. They took the word war out. Emergencies Act. War out. Hey, Jeff, I think you're seeing what was going on here. Maybe this was longer term plan. Soften us up. Have some more rules. But you're right. And this is something that Donald Best and Joe Rampart do a lot of. War Measures Act. Let's remember where it came from. It says my invite is invalid. We'll send you another one, Ellen. I think you might be recycling an invite. Maybe one got posted for someone else or something. I don't know if the invites are good for more than one person, but we'll get you one too. Hunk Army loves you. Yeah, Blue Love Bug. Welcome. Ellen, try this. Yeah, so you'll probably need to get your own. We'll figure it out there, Ellen. I see that's coming. Bright Wheel just made it in, so link must have worked. Let me know what's happening. I can help. Okay. Nope. You'll get there. So You guys are so wonderfully in touch and sane. Kind of our thing, isn't it, Eleanor? And welcome. Welcome, Eleanor. So, yes, you're here. I think you're now Discord now. Your offer from the email yesterday is great. And Eleanor, if you stick around tonight, you, me, Railroaded, and anybody else that wants to try and get involved in helping me stream this outside of my little space here, stick around at the end. We're going to kind of talk about how we can coordinate someone else doing the stream and just popping it up on the screen for me. That way it keeps it up when I go down. But Eleanor, so much appreciative of your email. Thank you. And yeah, we'll go through the Discord side of things and get things going with you. And thank you for your offer. Are you on a PC or phone? Maybe you need to download app if phone. Possibly. I'm sure you'll figure it out and work it out. For those interested, voting machines being reported as being down in midterms. Oh, really? Already, Terry. Dominion, of course. Yep. All right. Important for Canadians because they started using machines here since the Trudeau snap election. But also, Terry, our federal election system is a little bit different than what they do in the States. We still do hand counting. I think Dominion was a part of some other elections in Canada. I don't know about the federal one yet. Always a concern. Always a concern. This is why I want paper, not digital. And this is why I want hands, not machines. For this reason here. Thanks for the info, Terry. Yeah, absolutely. Please keep that coming, and I'll report it. The Democrats have Soros' own Dominion on speed dial. Yeah, Soros is all over the place, is he not? The lead story on Global this hour is the readout of the Trudeau-Ford phone conversation, and Trudeau telling Ford he shouldn't need anything more than he had to clear the Windsor. Yeah, that was a very interesting one. Even the Wire brush up their comment. But yeah, we want that document. It's not in the database yet. We're keeping an eye on it. My little research team is going to be keep pinging that server until we get it. And if I get it first, I'll be sending it to Discord. Look at that, another Discord. It does a weird sound in my ear, so I'm getting used to it. In touch and saying, yeah, can be a thin line some days for sure, especially if it's minus 20 in the trailer first thing in the morning. It was a little cold. With the current state of affairs with Canadian leaders lately. God. Yeah, Railroaded, you're in touch. You got it. Corrupt leaders resign. They'll never will. They won't go and say, all right, that was me. That hashtag was for me. All right, I'm going to resign. Imagine that. Farm equipment is a big deal if we look around the world at who and what is protesting being protested. James, I think that might be the foundation they're laying, because there is talk about updating the Highway Traffic Act, because farm equipment was not covered in it. And that was one thing they learned this time around, was farm equipment was not covered in the Highway Traffic Act the way they needed it to. So they're going to be making adjustments around that. And yeah, we're going to have fertilizer, we're going to have water, and we're going to have land. That will be the next one. Those are the three issues, James, that they're attacking farmers with. The fertilizer one, we barely made a peep in Canada about. I think we're still worried about bank accounts being frozen or something, but we didn't actually follow through with anything on the fertilizer one. And by the way, the incredibly conservative on a federal level, Alberta, not pushing at all on that, that upset me, because I reached out to Agriculture Canada and I reached out to the scientist, and it's all on my Twitter. You can take a look at it. And I asked him basic questions about why the need for the 30% reduction. We just want the information so we can be abreast of it. His response was they don't have that information available. It would take them a long time to get it. And his recommendation was for me to go on Google and search outside of Canada for the information that he's pointing me to. What I learned from that wasn't so much how he was dismissing me. It was I was the first one that asked for that. Not John Burrow, the shadow agriculture minister for the Conservative Party, not my MP, Gerald Socorro, not any Conservative member asked for a clarification around the fertilizer issue. Nobody asked the government of Canada for that report or that breakdown until I did. And then the response I got when I asked for it was, it's not enough time. The request for comments closing in weeks and not enough time. So where were the Conservative Party on that one? Alberta's blue as blue can get with one little orange. Where were any of you on that one? It's so quiet. And I do want to highlight something about Gerald Socorro himself. My guy. He does follow me on Facebook now. He did around that time. He started following me on that around that time, around the fertilizer stuff. And then the day after that the request for comment closed was the first time he posted anything about the fertilizer issue. And that was the day after the request for comment closed. And that was also when I was saying to him, hey, where are you and John Burrow on this? And then he posts, the Liberals are attacking farmers with this fertilizer issue. And then nothing. He didn't do anything else after that. So a little too late. Guys, both of you could have reached out and said, hey, we need this information. And you guys could have been the catalyst that reached out and started that way before little old me did. Sorry for that little rant. I'm a little annoyed with my Blues on the Alberta federal level because not one of them stood up for the farmers during that. And they only showed up after the request for comment closed. So thanks, guys. Doesn't mean we're going to follow through with what this recommendation is. Farmers are smarter than that. But when it comes to leadership and it comes to representation, come on, Gerald, you should have been way better than that. Why didn't you just at least squawk about it? What do you got to lose? Sorry, I kind of went off there. Something that was on my mind, and it bothers me that we don't have real opposition in this country. The system's designed that way. It should be worked that way. I'll try again. Okay, looks like Ellen, you guys might be getting it. I guess it wanted a cell phone. Okay, I'm on computer. I'll put it on cell phone a little bit later, but cool. Dwayne, welcome back. Only potential for violence I heard was the threats made by the union to push vehicles into the water and break heads. No kidding, right? No kidding. There's a lot of elitism out there and a whole bunch of different places where they think they can just do that. Like if they said they needed the EA because the union was doing stuff like this, I'd be a little bit more on your side, team. But no, not at all. Hey, Travis, welcome from Calgary. Nice to meet you, Travis. Welcome. Facebook, just so you know, Travis, the stream will shut off at the 8-hour mark. And we usually do about 10 hours or just shy of 10 hours or just shy of 12 hours. It's somewhere in there. So if you're on Facebook and enjoying this, which you are, it will shut off at 8-hour mark. So please come and join us on Rumble or YouTube or Twitter. All three of those will be streaming it all the way to the end. About 5 minutes to water. Oh, your well's almost done. Did you put the hand pump in too? Let us know. Got her, Ellen. Congrats on the water. Yeah, look at this. This is this group. When you're off grid and you're dealing with wells and life in the rural areas, these are the things that make us excited. One of my wife's most exciting moments recently was our septic system went in. We're very pleased to have it for this winter because it really made it tough to move things around in winter when you're dealing with just a 50-gallon tote type of thing. Enough on that one, but we got it septic. Deloitte, or we were our void machines. Yeah, Deloitte is what we have in Canada, I think, as the auditor for that. I think you're talking about that. And they're all connected. No hand pump yet. All right. Well, I think you lifted it. You elevated it up a bit. Boy, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in Discord going on here. You want to have some fun? How much time we got left? We got some time. You guys want to join me in Discord? Let's go look at it. Let's go see what's going on here. Share screen. I think a window will do it. Discord. Look at that. Discord. My first time in it. So don't laugh at me if I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to move it. There's so much going on. Oh, look at this. Is that the general chat? Perfect. I can set this up each day. Look at this. Come join us in Discord. I'm very new to it. So come join us here. Railroaded. But he pushes bandwidth. Yeah, I might be railroaded. I might be. And railroaded, if you can do the share screen in here like I did, we can stop mine and then you can do it. I can see Eleanor and there's a few people here. Or Eleanor, if you want to do it, I can stop my share of the screen and then you can share it. Let me know if you're doing that and I'll stop mine. Old MySpace 5. Yeah, I remember those days. RC. I remember those days too. Big days. You remember BBSs? How back do you guys go? Bulletin board systems? We used that a lot in back in the day. I still remember getting every week or so the phone number list and seeing who's new and what was a quota to join and stuff. Boy, those were some fun days. All right, well, that's Discord. That happened while we were watching everything. Thanks to all the people. Bright Wheel's in there too now. I just saw a message. Look at that. Just playing. Trudeau honk. Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to getting in here some more and taking a closer look at this, folks. So thank you, RR. Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you, LNCJR. I know you're one of my Twitter people. I don't remember your name right now. Look at that. Canadian news, world news. Thank you all. Okay, so if you're going to get into Discord, ask for the invite. We'll get this thing growing. Thank you. We love you, Bright, for sure. For sure, Railroaded. We do love Bright. We love Stunt. We love the whole group. All right, so we'll stop sharing that. Oh, look at my hat. And look at my wings. Still haven't decided I'm going to cut them off yet. You remember, James? Bulletin board systems? Oh, having to dial up and get a connection, and then you had to give quota, so you would upload, so you can just download. It was a fun, interesting time. One of the big bulletin boards in Winnipeg was like ex-cops or something like that. And they had a process to go through to be approved. But James, you'll appreciate this. I'm going to say about 15 years ago. So yeah, mid 2000s. So somewhere in 2005, 2006, I found a old teletype BBS terminal at a garage sale. And it worked. I took it home and it worked. It powered up and it just wanted a phone number to dial out. And of course, this is like 2005, 2006. There was like nothing available. Quick web search. I found the library in Winnipeg still had the BBS up. So long distance and all, I didn't mind. I went and called and I think it freaked them out because there was an administrator on the other end and quickly got into the chat. I was like, wow, I haven't had anybody in here for a long time. And then within about 5 minutes, he went through all the processes to give me like full admin and give me all the rights to everything. And if you were in the BBS days, in the early days, that would have been an honor to finally get to, like a server admin level. Now they just hand it out like candy because nobody's there anymore. Unfortunately, that was my one and only time connecting there because it lost its novelty pretty quickly because there's very little you can do now that you can't do online. So it was fun. But James, those were fun days. Text adventure games. Yeah, there was one about drug dealing. What was that one called? Because it was actually good. It taught you economics and it taught you trade. There was one you had to get on the subway, go somewhere else. It was fun. We don't do that anymore, do we? Hey, James? Cool. I think we're showing our ages a bit, right? The BBS was a lot of fun. And that's where I got my first email address from. And that was back when email was wide and open. You could just use a protocol to send messages. Not today. People spammed and took advantage of those open systems, so we don't have them anymore. Railroaded, you loving this chat? We got a little bit of an extra long lunch hour, so we can keep chatting. And yeah, the drug dealing game that taught you economics and trade. Yeah, there was one. Oh, man. Somebody out there knows this. It was very popular in the BBS front scene, and it was just a text-based. You know what? Give me a sec. BBS text game drug dealer. Drug Wars. There it is. Yep, Drug Wars. That's what it was. Drug Wars game on BBS. Yep. It was an economic game, Railroaded, because you had to buy low, sell high. You had to move around to markets, and you had to upgrade your weapons and things like that for protection. And you know, as silly as it sounds, there's a lot of lessons that can be learned in those type of games. It was quite popular. James, I'm only 42, 3 years younger than I am. I'm 45, bud. And that's right, Railroad to Drug Wars. Yep, that's the name of it. It was everywhere. That would be the one game that everybody was playing back then. It was fun. It was fun. There's a lot of games like that on old Nintendo where you would be it was more economics than it is video game. There was one about shipping, pirates and stuff like that. anyways, I spent a lot of time around games like that, business related ones, because I found that interesting. It served me well later. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Hey, let's go look at it together. It was a fun little text game. Some of you are laughing that, yeah, sure enough. Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's any screens. No, you brought up the wiki. There's no screen. But yeah, I remember lewds were cheap and then they were expensive. And yeah, anyways, back to this. All right, so it looks like this afternoon, the next witness is going to be a business owner. Okay. And actually, let me search this database, see if we got any more documents. 26 documents. Uh-oh, is this here now? 7 meeting. Sorry, I'm just looking at the evidence. I'm seeing if that document made its way in there yet. Doesn't look like it. RR, I think it was 2845. We got 2837. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, a business owner, Paul Leischeid. So it looks like he's a cabinet maker. So he's the next witness. Be very keen on how important he is. Is this going to be part of the narrative that he was worried that he'd have to fire people, or he did have to fire people, or are we going to hear about how horrible it was for him? He's a small business owner, not a big business owner, so I'm not sure how his impact. Maybe he's going to be like the BIA that we heard from Ottawa. We had 2 BIA people talking about businesses there. Maybe he's going to be the BIA representative for Windsor. Maybe that's what his role is. I'm not sure yet. But kind of like Ottawa, we got the city, we got the police, we got the OPP, and then we got business or residents kind of setting the stage. So maybe that's what this guy's more like, Paul. We'll meet you soon, bud. Okay. And where do we go from here, folks? I don't think anybody on this channel, in the chat, on Discord, on Rumble, actually think that the government had the right to do it, nor have they established it here. What do you think? Terry, what do you think? No EA? James? Where are you at with that one? Can you guys even get to the point where the EA was necessary? Can you even imagine it? Can you try and get there? Never had the right. Yeah. RR. This is clear as day now. Overreach. And that's what they do. This is kind of what they do. Obviously, political goose. No need or right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, other than waiting for the next election, maybe hoping the NDP break the partnership at some point, what do we do? I know some of you are frustrated and want to go to the street and yell. It's one thing to do. But what do we do? Politically traumatized. Railroad, there is a term that's going to come out of this, which is going to fall in the same category as domestic abuse. Okay? Domestic abuse is a certain category. It's horrible. Loved ones doing it to each other. Trust, bonds, parent, child, all that stuff. It makes for a very different dynamic when it comes to abuse and violence. Government doing this to people is going to fall into that category. I don't know what the name of it is. There might already be a name for it. But this was a type of domestic abuse. And Students Against Mandates, I interviewed them a while ago, and they had the same perspective that this was a type of government abuse on its people. It had the hallmarks of domestic violence, repetitive, you brought it on yourself, if only you listened type of behavior and attitude. Maybe this is something we're going to have to explore in the future, because that's what I think we witnessed here. The name calling, the constant propaganda through the media, this is all abuse. All types of abuse. And there's a whole bunch of people now that have to undo that abuse, kind of come out of the dark and lift themselves up. And hopefully we're there for them. Hong Kong. Yeah. So Goose, revolution. Revolution. So as we said yesterday, there's really, revolution is when the people go against the government and replace them. Civil war is when people on people. Could be backed by government. It could be backed by governments. Could be backed by states and provinces. But civil war is people on people. Revolution is people on government. And coup is army via people via the army on government. So we've got the revolution at the ballot boxes, Goose. But practically, realistically, what other revolutions do we have? This is not France. Practically, realistically, what other revolutions do we got? We now saw what would happen if EA was used. So you can rest assured that would be the quick trigger. But Goose, I think at this point we need our opposition to wake the up like yesterday, get loud, and also attack the NDP for breaking the rules, and even levy bribery charges, because the deal with the NDP and the Liberal Party is officially under criminal code a bribery of officials. Whenever you sell your vote, that hasn't happened yet. That's bribery of an official. It's in the criminal code. Where's my opposition? Where's the opposition? Push hard. But Goose, I'm not saying no to anything you're thinking. Dwayne, if Trudeau actually said to Ford that he has what he needs without the EA to clear the protest, that's a death nail to the government's narrative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And why isn't Ford taking the stand? He doesn't want to talk about any of this. Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? 100%. We've also seen all over the place. The plans were done. Things were done before the EA. Come on, Pierre. You got to do something. You got enough here to say that Justin was lying on the 14th when he said that the blockades were in place still. You have enough right there, Pierre. Go and attack him like crazy on that one. Play it over and over and over again. He kept saying they're blocked, and then have the OPP, have Windsor, have WPS, have them all saying cleared by the 13th. Just keep doing that. It's annoying that you're not, to be honest with you. Legal protests are taking place in the capital city because where else do you confront the leaders? May the odds be forever in your favor. Eleanor, you know this. And they've been talking about, like, especially Ottawa. Ottawa says, we're the capital. We've got the government, the number one taxpayer, the number one employer. We love it. Don't come here and complain to them. Don't worry, Eleanor. We don't have to listen to any of that recommendation and this weird talk. There's a lot of countries around the world that set up protest zones, which are so ineffective that you're just causing even more rife to grow. I think, Eleanor, they got some growing up to do, and legal protests, we should do it again. Yep, anyone else who's ever gone through mental health therapy for trauma sees it 100% RR. This is domestic. This is a form of domestic violence, for sure. Psychological, emotional, spiritual. You're going after health and fear, and you're making us attack other family members. This has got all the hallmarks of a very abusive, controlling relationship. Very. It's a type of abuse. There's even another type that I want to poke my eyes on at some point, and that's litigation abuse. That's using the court system to abuse people. I know what that's like. That's another type. And that one is, it's heartbreaking on how little recourse you have for litigation abuse. Sorry, there's something about Alberta there. And lives it, it's triggers for those who have it. It's a shame. I agree. Revolution ripple in Alberta. And I'm not surprised that Bridget, a survivor of domestic abuse, was the light for this, because she recognized that kind of abuse the same way, felt the same way, attacking her face with a mask instead of a fist or a hand. She had all of those. And yes, I don't think she was wrong on feeling the same feelings. I think this is what we had gone through. We are in a toxic relationship with our gov on nearly every. Yes, James. Yes, it's time to break up with them. I think it's time to break up with them and get a new one. I just can't get that election here fast enough, can we? but I'll be there. I'll be on the ballot, and I'm going to do everything I can to get my name out there, get people to recognize the mission, get supported for it, and then follow through with it, and then do another term of it, because we may need to do 2 of them. Practically, we buckled up. We were dealing with tyranny. There is no legal or civil system response available with tyranny. That's so true, Goose. I know it feels that way, but please understand, I think we're a couple steps away from that, but it's certainly smelling and feeling like it, and we're trending there. We're not quite there yet. But if this inquiry goes bad, or if that event, if the truckers actually revolted and tried to do anything along those lines, then we definitely would be there right now, Goose. And I kind of think maybe that was the 1, 2, 3 step process they were looking for. 100% James, from the municipal through the province all the way to the feds. Railroaded knows. Yeah, and even when you get to some of the right help, ombudsmans and stuff like that, and it goes in your favor, even then, very little power. It's a recommendation, right? RR. You can't directly call anyone a liar in House of Commons. Yeah, that's a neat one. In fact, I think Singh got in trouble for dancing that line and then calling someone racist, or at least applying, or you get some trouble for that. But you don't have to say liar. You can just attack the truth that they're giving you, ask them for the proof, counter it. It's a debate. You don't have to get to the liar level, but to show them a liar. But I would have so many complaints, James, in the House. They wouldn't stick and they wouldn't get rid of me, but there would be a lot of petty complaints against me because they would find me very difficult. A convoy was our last attempt to gauge a civil process. We should understand now exactly what type of entity we're dealing with. 2 arms. James, I can't support you on that one. I can't support you on that one. I don't think that's where we're at. I think if things went worse in February, maybe, but I don't think we're there, James. And I think it's kind of difficult to make those kind of calls at this stage, because all of those calls right there will be shut down and pointed to as the threats that caused the reaction. You don't even have to have arms. Just talking like that will be enough for them to C11 or put you in an investigation or other things. So, and look, and that's kind of what they did by design, right? Us even talking about violence as one of the options that can be considered, not even to the point where you're doing it, is so taboo and off that it's difficult, Goose. But I don't think that's the way Canada would work. I don't think Canada would do that, to be honest with you. About 80% are so weak that they wouldn't do that, Goose. I think our best bet right now is for Alberta and other provinces to just say thanks, but no thanks to the federal government, start living independently. And if the federal government decides to come knocking and show up on the doorstep, stand on guard for thee. No problem, Goose. Don't know if you know this, but there are no rats in Alberta. Did you know that? Look it up. Rats haven't made their way to Alberta yet. We're going to keep it that way. And I actually mean the rodent. They're not here. Look it up. And we're going to keep it that way, Goose. So if they come here, you and I can talk, but I don't think you would go there with it. Not at this stage. We're not there. It won't happen. So buckle up. Things are going to get a lot worse and weirder. Biblical. Grab the popcorn and find a high hill. Whew. Those be fighting words, Goose. We're watching, we're paying attention, and we're not scared. And we won't back down. And we know that truth and good is on our side. So, flush. She's in business. Go, Ellen. Water back. Good job. And thanks for sharing with us. It's great. And yes, flush the swamp. One by one. And the swamp are the unelected officials. CAOs, directors. Some of them are good people, but some of them have been there for a little bit too long, and some of them don't have enough accountability. Okay, so I'm just going to get the stream ready, because the screen just changed on me. It was an extra long lunch hour, so I hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit more banter and babble than normal. They are guilty of corruption. Imagine what kinds leave Imagine what kind of lives we would live if we could force the ones to resign and no public purse if found guilty of corruption. Well, hopefully it's the other way around, Railroaded. We still believe in due process. And I don't think just an allegation of corruption should be enough, but proof of it, a process, for sure. And this is one thing I've been calling for that I think we are missing, and that is some oversight of government. Sorry, distracted. Oversight on government, even the unelected ones. There's ethics commissions,
Order
but not
alert.
much. Okay, looks like we're back. Okay, well, enjoy the afternoon. Time for lunch for me. Hot dogs. Chat with you guys soon as we get this banner
The
going.
commission has reconvened. La commission reprend.
Okay, enjoy. Afternoon break. He keeps saying morning break. Afternoon break. Whew, I think we're all getting tired as he is. He looks tired. I look tired. What is day 19? It almost feels like a hostage situation now. Hair is growing out. He's looking tired. I'm looking tired. How are you all looking? Are you getting tired? Right. So surprise witness for me, because I didn't know why he was there. I thought maybe he was going to represent small business like the BIAs did. No, he wasn't. He was there as a protester, also small business owner. Did you see how they tried to make leaders out of him? A couple of you picked that up too. They're really gung-ho about leaders, people that they should be able to talk to or maybe chop the heads off of. Boy, they really like leaders, don't they? Came up quite a bit. All right, so we're going to go through this one pretty quickly. I got a lot of starred ones. I think we're going to be seeing another witness next, and it looks like it might be Alberta. A counselor from Alberta might be next. So we might be done with Windsor now. We'll see. All right, Railroaded. Andy Lee, exchange between Trudeau and Ford. Yeah, found that too. I retweeted it. You find my Twitter, you can find it there. And on our Discord, we have a copy of those two now. Thank you, RR. That's a very interesting exchange with Ford and PM. Read it. Jeff, welcome from Facebook. Why is her popping on the wrong side? So bad. And here's something, Jeff. Why did nobody tell her? There's so many people in that room. Maybe nobody cared to. Nobody wants to talk to her. I don't know. But yeah, you picked that up. A few people picked that up. Hey, Railroaded. What you don't know is staggering. YouTube is doing that to all of us. Yeah, so I was going to ask. Your messages are going bye-bye? Really? Is that something? Oh, no. Certainly nothing on our side, Railroaded. You know that. You're a mod. But that's very weird. Are we getting attention? And why would anything be deleted? I know that on Twitter, quite a few responses to some of my tweets will be hidden under the inappropriate content. Click here. And then you click there and it's nothing inappropriate at all, like nothing. So I know that. The AI kind of tweaking, I don't know. But I'm really sorry if anything's being deleted for any of you. Thank you for your patience on reposting it. Nothing on our end. We'll have to keep an eye on that, won't we? He needs protections. This might be. Oh, yeah. So when this witness came out, the very first thing that came out was he was looking for those legal protections. So that was awesome. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, ooh, he's going to be talking for the other side, which is cool. And this was quite good. Yeah, I'm glad they called him. So right away, we were hearing protester side, and it was peaceful protesting and many protests and lots of good people. It was good testimony. 100% proving it was always just humans being humans, exercising the right to protest. Do we have a class now of people that don't think you should protest at all? And what about their protests? They had their whole bunch. So let's keep in mind we all need the democratic tool of protest. It is part of the system. It's necessary. All sides, all issues should have the right to protest. Doesn't always have to be in the street. That might be the escalation as the protest is not being heard. But your first protest could be sent an email, sent an FOI request, sent a second FOI request because they're beating around the bush, all the way down to in the street. It was all legit. All right. And Stunt, his little MO, right? He didn't trust the media. He couldn't trust what was going on, so he went and looked for himself. Sounds familiar, right, bud? A lot of red pilling happened that way because they didn't trust the media. They went and go to see it themselves, and then next thing you know, you're a stunt and you're a star. Hey, Eleanor. Cool. I would stunt. Do you have like the best of, or do you have some moments where everybody says you got to watch that? Point me to it. Share it with me. Let's. I would like to see that. Eleanor, you're awesome. Hey, Goose. Sounds to me like this inquiry needs to be extended. We need to talk with some media figures. Goose. When this door closes, it's just the beginning. Okay, this is really just a data dump. We're getting a bunch of information out of the inquiry, so we're very excited about that. There's going to be more. There's going to be civil. There might even be criminal, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even the OPP looked into a couple things. Maybe, I hope, but I don't think this is the end, Goose, and I don't think it will be extended unless, the list is just government after that. It's a pretty controlled narrative for the next 3 weeks. So don't expect surprises and witnesses coming out of the woodwork unless Ford changes his mind. Eleanor, best part of the whole thing because there were people on the front lines documenting the truth. Stunts coverage was uplifting and so real. I think that changed everything. Stunt and the other streamers changed everything. If that narrative didn't come out, if the truth didn't come out, if that video wasn't out there, even without violence on our side, we would have a very different inquiry because it would just be government narrative, very little proof on our side. So Stunt, Viva, the rest of you, Zot, Travel 69, Ottawalks, all of you, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for giving us so many different varieties to look at and choose from. And you guys even kind of worked on making sure that we had coverage all the time, pretty much. The Shed, too. Streaming live from the Shed. Good job, guys. And by the way, the Shed, its final video, you got to see the police come in and, treat people's property with respect, right? Anyways, that was a sad moment on TV. Eleanor was a red pill for many. Yeah, he certainly changed our lives with his footage. Thank you again, Stunt. You did change lives, bud. Clay, cabinetry surely is relevant. Yeah. And the government of Canada questions really were annoying. He all of a sudden had to have economic, he's like an expert witness, subject matter expert, but for the economics and supply chains and all that. Blue Water Bridge, the tunnel, Sarnia, Huron, Port Huron, all other options. And the video that she showed, it actually said in the video that it was, I think we get it later on, that it was essentially blocked. Essentially blocked means not blocked. Okay? Essentially means almost. So not even in her little news story did it say blocked. It said essentially. It's still irrelevant, Clay, 100%. And okay, so there's a whole bunch of questions where she was getting him to do the hey, if this is an economic bridge and this is a very vital artery, this would hurt Canada, correct? And he said yes. I actually would have said no to those. And here's why. Because I'm not a subject matter expert. And I would have actually said, well, no, there's other routes. There's ships. There's planes, there's rail, there's tunnel. I would have not said yes to that. I also would have said no. I don't believe that bridge is an economically vital to Canada. I would have said no to like all of her questions because you can. They're so subjective that you can say no or yes to it. Yes, I do think that you're right, or no, I don't think that you're right. I would have done a lot more no's than he did. Because it would have been still honest. It's not perjury. You can say, no, I don't think that bridge is important because there's tunnels and other bridges. Would have been just as fine to say that. I would have, but he's not an expert witness, and he really wasn't trying to steer anything. So he didn't, do that. But yeah, when you ask really open-ended from a non-expert, you can get a bunch of yeses out of them. Don't think the commissioner makes him an expert. I don't think the commissioner would see him as an expert. So I don't think that would really work, other than she got a lot of yeses out of him. She's unfamiliar with the word grassroots. Who's the leader? Where's the leader? Who's orchestrating? How did you guys know? How was this done? Who's doing that? Why did you all do that? Why didn't you all do that? Who was making the decisions? Grassroots is 100% what we're smelling here and seeing here, because grassroots is right down to a single individual, to a few people that clusters in like minds, all the way to even leaders developing. Grassroots is not a centralized system at all, but this is how the government is thinking. Or are they going to say there was no way to communicate with these protesters because there was no leader, therefore we need the EA? Wow. No, that narrative, like, I don't know where the government's going with that, other than to show their own incompetence. And yeah, at one point, and I think Clay, yeah, here you go, Clay. You and I sniffed that one out. She was trying to make him say he was a leader. Were you coordinating what app? No, she didn't ask what apps. That came later. What apps was he using? But she was asking, who are you talking to? How did you know? She was trying to make him to admit that he was an organizer or leader. And I guess we find out why later, because his bank account was shut down, folks. That one upset me. Because, sorry, you were clear, Freeland, that you only shut down, well, you said 60 accounts of leaders and organizers. Specifically, you said that. This guy's not a leader nor an organizer. Don't even know why you picked him out of the lineup. I like that she's crossing off. Yeah, that was funny. She's going... And then even at one point, she got an answer he didn't like, and I think who started. She flipped several pages, Clay. She flipped several pages when she didn't get the answer she was looking for. So I wonder if those were all related to whether or not that first answer was the way she wanted, because she flipped several pages. See how they really like to try and have leaders. There we go. Yeah, and the same thing in Ottawa. They were trying to find a head, maybe to chop off the snake of, or to point the finger of uncooperative, and we had to use force. But you can see where they're going with this, folks. If you are a genuine grassroots effort, they think boots is the only way to deal with you. Mr. Glenn Mott's MP told the House of Commons committee that trade was actually up during the 24 days of the protest. I believe that, because there was a lot of things that were actually being laxed, even though the truckers were getting mandated. There's other things that were laxing up. So yeah, I'm not surprised. And then what is Mr. Mott saying? Is it like Ottawa economics or just Canada in general? But no, look, we're starting to come out of the worst of the lockdowny passport vaccine stuff. We were starting to come out of the tail end of that when this was going on. So I'm not surprised, because I also know that there were BS numbers that were thrown around, 100%. And we also heard from this witness that it was blocked on the first day and then not again after that. And then we heard from the news that it was essentially blocked, but again, not after that. And then we saw pictures of intersections, but not the bridge. So I think the narrative is done. We also heard testimony that cops were walking around with cameras. We didn't get to see any of that video. That would have been easy to show if it was really what they were talking about. They can't handle the fact that ordinary folks were fed up and headed to the Capitol. There must be an organizer. See, yeah, Clay, you're getting it, but they want an organizer to chop the head off of, I guess, and then point to for incorporation. And if there's incorporation amongst leaders, then maybe you have to escalate. But again, there was none, and it was small and tiny and cleared quickly. And I hope Canada is waking up one by one on this. Well, there was some rudeness on the lawyer too. He was telling the truth. So this was a part where her story changed, and about being blocked to the intersection, whether or not traffic was able to get through. And he said, "Well, no, when I was there, I can see people go through." Because she started the question with, other than emergency vehicles that had no trouble, other traffic couldn't get through. Is that correct? You would agree with me? It's like, oh, actually, no, I was there and I saw traffic going through all the time. Well, the other people would disagree with you. The city and the WPS would disagree with you. Yeah, I'm sure they would too. But we do know the mayor wasn't standing at that intersection, nor was the night chief there either. But he was. So I'm sorry, you can point to two people who weren't there and say, well, their story doesn't match yours. But unfortunately, he's a better witness because he was there. And that was just rude. Lawyer rudeness and frustration. And Clay, this is when she did the multiple pages at this point. So she had a lot of questions around that. Blocking, and probably around business and supply chain and supply lines. She really liked that line. Look how little she cares. Yeah, and he went into this one little, hey, small business, 2 years. We all suffered. It was really crappy. And then she went on as if none of that was there. And that speaks volume. We've seen other lawyers respond to the witnesses in human ways, but not a chance on this one. And yeah, Terry, you saw that too. Very cold-hearted. And also because she's also maybe not even listening to a darn thing he says, quite frankly. She may have completely missed the entire thing because all she's doing is looking down at her notes, coming up with the next question, trying to figure out how to leverage more out of him. So she may have completely not even heard him. But in either case, still came off really cold. Essentially shutting down. There we go. It's not shutting down. That was in her video showing from the news from the States. And they said essentially. They didn't say shut down. The end of the last video was interesting. The vax mandate. Yeah, and it almost seemed like she kind of forgot and we wanted to cut it off, right, Terry? She didn't like that either. But it kind of stuck in there because the news story was covering, at least somewhat unbiasedly, both sides of the Canadian issue there. I've been with my husband there in Windsor. It takes hours to pass on a truck line. Is various reasons could be, and even backlog and backups could be. One of the shots they were showing as they're flying over the trucks, there was a stack of them at a traffic light with nobody in front of them. So it might have been just turning onto another road and a bit of a backup, but traffic is traffic. You have it all the time, not EA-able. Interesting comment, staggering, as there were huge lines upon, all the time. If you've ever crossed a border, that's a very busy one. And it keeps saying that, right? They keep saying there's so much traffic through here, so much traffic, 25% of all trade. All right, there's going to be backups. Okay, we're doing lots of trade through there. Let's move on. Hey, Kelly. I think this might be your first message today. If you go to the traffic cam, the Blue Water Bridge looks pretty backed up right now, quite frequently. So translation here, folks. The auto industry workers are more important than truckers and everybody else, because all they kept talking about was how, well, do you have friends in the automotive working industry? Do you know people? Did you talk to people in the automotive? There's so many different types of people. He was talking about frontline, fire, nurses. He was talking about other people too. Is this what Canada is saying? Government of Canada is saying is auto industry workers are the Trump of all industries. And as long as they're okay, then Canada's okay. That's silly, Canada. I know auto industry workers are important and the auto industry is important and all this stuff is important. But as Paul said in the end, it's hard to gauge and stack who was hurt more by who and all of that. Thank you, Canada, for trying hard to make it seem like that's the most important industry and we should protect it at all costs, but nobody's buying that narrative. Wow, they snuck in Alex Jones, didn't they? He was talking about agent provocateurs, but using the French version of it. And then this lawyer was acting silly and talking about Black Flag. He went to Black Flag from it, which is not what it is. And then he says, like Alex Jones or something along those lines. Really? Canada, you're embarrassing me, man. Okay, I've got some noise and maybe a hot mic. Yeah, it might be a little early, so we'll keep an ear out. Yeah, they just shut it off. Alex Jones made an appearance in the Canada inquiry that had nothing to do with him. I thought that was kind of funny. Personally, I don't like listening to him. Lots of loud. Okay, this is kind of why I'm doing this too, to not be that kind of loud. But look, nothing wrong with that him existing and being out there. Why is his name making an appearance in our inquiry when it had nothing to do with him, other than to shock somebody? And there's another name where maybe the commissioner might look up or hear or understand. And then they said about provoking the police. So agent provocateurs, people who are trying to provoke. Yeah, okay, I get it. But you shouldn't be able to provoke the police. If a police officer is ever provoked, that means they lost control, which means they're no longer an officer, which means they're now a criminal. It really is that simple. That's the dotted line. There's no such thing as provoking a police officer. Now, in the abstract sense of the word, sure, yes, I understand what they mean. But in the professional sense of the word, it shouldn't be possible. If an officer is provoked, that means they became a criminal because you're now an assault, battery, more. So no such thing as provoking the police. You'd be provoking a criminal because they should only be responding to crimes. That's their job. So they should only be responding to an actual crime, not somebody provoking them with slurs or anything like that. It's weird how the government's really concerned about provoking the police, but yet not the protesters. The provoking of the protesters were happening the entire time. So I'm glad you understand what provoking means, but disregarding one complete group there. LN, as if agent provocateur wasn't a thing before this guy. Yeah, it's been around forever. It's been around forever. We even think we saw some on video during the convoy. I know Viva had one weird person who was being pointed out as one. Listen, they're a thing. They're the thing, of course. They're just there to cause chaos for some purpose, for some reason. Okay, we got some more sound again. Okay, folks, we're going to keep going. Oh, there we go. I turned it off. Terry, wow. In the language of Alex Jones, super biased and preconceived with his stance. He is getting real puffed up. Good response by Rolu. So wants to paint aggressive Jan 6 scenario. Yeah, and he pushed back on some of the questioning too. I don't see how it's a point. And then objection to the objection, but then he had to pull back because he was losing that objection to the objection. What are the point? What's the relevancy? And then he acted, and you see this from some lawyers. The lawyer acted like he decided to step down from that, not that the judge ruled against him, but the judge ruled against him. Cowardly moves by some lawyers to act as if you still didn't lose when you did. So people other than auto workers and truckers, imagine that. Yeah, so this is where the testimony was listing off nurses and other people. So other people were affected by the mandates and everything that was going on. We shouldn't focus in on just one. As impacted as they may have been, can't focus on just one.
Order allowed.
Okay. This might be legit. Yeah. All right, there you go.
The
Likely a
commission
new
has
witness is
reconvened. The
coming up.
commission
So let's find out who this is. Might be Alberta.
Van Hugenbach.
There we go. 3 witnesses again today. I think that might be the new routine. I think we might get a 4-hour witness in the morning and then a couple 2 hours in the afternoon. Keep going through it. We are on witness number, that was 40. Nope, hold on, even further. 39. Witness 39 of 71. We're getting there. Whew. All right, go Alberta. Who felt like an Albertan for a little while there, talking about all the restrictions and the things we didn't want to live through, and felt pretty good there. They're really getting a lot of narrative out as well, the counter narrative out as well. They're really getting some soapboxing going on there. In the normal court, you wouldn't see any of that. That's for sure. But I don't know, it's kind of neat to hear. I'm on the mute button pretty quick here for YouTube though, because a couple slips and this video will be taken down, right, Wayne? Hello, long haul tomorrow. Yeah, I guess so. Why is tomorrow longer? Well, Jim, I think the mayor of Coots, and then Ontario, Alberta, they may be trying to get 4 witnesses in. That's why. Because after that, we get into Public Safety Canada. So it looks like they might be trying to get 4 witnesses in tomorrow. That could be why it might be a long day. Yeah, because the next group becomes government. So maybe they're going to try and get that the day after. That's my guess. And Denise, yeah, Arizona voting machines are broken, moving ballots to an unsecure location. God. And then we get burst water pipes and all that stuff is going to be happening again. Wow. Never a dull moment, right, Denise? All right, let me jump to the start. I got 71. We might be able to get out of here before the 10-hour mark again, but again, we'll run late if we have to. And it was a good day. It was a good day. This last witness, so some of the things I wish you didn't say, but overall, it was a good witness. Tractors were scary, and we also had a car accident going. You're like salmon upstream. You see all the vehicles coming. Broken headlight while she's filming. But is that it? The police ran a stop sign. We heard that one. All right, Clay, let's do this. It certainly wouldn't be on mainstream media. She's right about that. Yeah, we actually had a lawyer say that, right? It wasn't going to be on mainstream media. I think it was from the previous witness at the end there. Police outnumbered the protesters. This was Windsor, right? This is the end of Windsor, some of these stars, where, yeah, we heard that statement out of Paul that the police outnumbered the protesters. And it was clear they could have easily handled it, even on day one. That was a good question to come out. Even on day one, if the police wanted to clear it, they could have, for sure, was his answer. Hey, Terry. Now deny that he didn't know at least something was coming after 2 years of relatively large protests on a regular basis in Windsor with the route, the exact same theme. Yeah, no, they repeated and talked about all the different protests, up to 1,000 even at one point, around some sort of celebrities, blue sky, sky blue, something like that. Yeah, Terry, of course. And this is where the OPP have no problem with it because they know protests happen and peaceful and have your say and usually pretty good. Lots of plans for that, Terry, even though the mayor says they had no plans. Hey, James. Lots of good stuff from you again, James. Oh, definitely. That was apparent on every live stream. The problem was not only politically it was just the college students, from what I can tell. Yeah, this was a Windsor one, right? There was not much going on. There were some live streams, and I think Railroad mentioned one. But there wasn't much going on. That's for sure. We knew that. And we would have saw more. And we also heard police had cameras and they were taking evidence and surveilling and all that. Body cams, some of them, I'm sure. We didn't get to see any problems. Per Global, City of Toronto drops COVID vaccine mandates. Staff to be ordered. Reinstatement memo. Okay, cool. Starting to unwind. You're going to see more and more and more of that. And we'll see if we ever touch those again, mandates. And Railroad, time to celebrate for that one for sure. Oh, wow, his account too. Yeah, this guy's bank account. I think that's a big thing. That's kind of like Daniel Bulford talking about Prime Minister's photographer at the Yahtzee flag picture. This is a big thing because he's not an organizer. He's not a leader. He wasn't attached to Ottawa at all. He wasn't even attached to the convoys. He was a local there, not even identified self as a leader in any way, shape, or form. But yet he had a bank account trouble. BJ, you're looking far more suspicious now, man, because this dude got on the list, but you didn't get on the list. That's suspicious, BJ. But I think this is a problem because Freeland came out and was very clear, and she gave the number in one press conference that they only attacked 60 bank accounts of leaders and organizers of the convoy. She didn't mention Windsor, and this dude wasn't either one of those. So why was his account touched? Was there far more than 60? That could be a big lie for Freeland that we may have to look into. And this is the kind of stuff that we need from this inquiry, because this is the kind of stuff that they don't expect to come out. So when we get Freeland's list at some point and there's 60, if we don't see Paul on there, we got problems, right? This is actually kind of cool. I like finding these little nuggets. They don't expect us to come out. Hey, Terry, this children as human shields thing is about as low as violent protest. Yeah, narrative creators can go. Second that to Alex Jones, language guy. Yeah, no, that's dirty. That's dirty. But yeah, they keep harping on it, talking like anybody would have done anything like that in the entire country of Canada. That's just nonsense. Okay, Terry, that's the most polite word I can come with right now is nonsense. Ellen, that's the same. Yeah, you caught it too. His bank account shouldn't have been touched. From other rhetoric we've heard about whose accounts were touched, his shouldn't have been touched. So that's interesting. And Canadian Civil Liberties Association weren't even on the list today. And they are the ones looking into the bank accounts. So they don't even think or know or was aware that his was. Now, maybe his was just a completely random banking error. But it was asked and answered. He had bank account issues. Not sure why they played that goofy, ineffective anti-convoy video for an unrelated witness, but they did. Yeah, I remember that long 10-minute long video of honking and other fireworks and other things, and they were playing it. In that case, the witness on the stand at the time, they were protesters who were there protesting. So the argument can be made from Paul Champ's group there that that video is relevant to them because they were there. But and then her question at the end, which we knew was going to be a no, was, "Did you see any of this?" And the answer was no. Now, if the video that was coming in there, if it wasn't objected to, it would have just been played. Okay, the commissioner himself wouldn't have stopped it. He wouldn't have done anything. He would just let it play. The video that you're talking about, the Paul Chump group played, it wasn't objected to. So they just wasted their time, played a video, asked a question about, do you recall it being like this? And the answer was no. But no, I get you, Ellen. It's annoying. It's annoying. Because clearly that video was tackling a protester outside the established zone. That was the purpose of that video. That's what the lawyer was trying to do. And unfortunately, he wasn't there. And she did try a different way, which was, have you seen footage of? It wasn't enough. And then she didn't even try to bring it back in again. Kind of gave up on that. But we saw what was about to happen. And then they talked about what happened. So we kind of know what's in there. That's video of the police attacking a single protester. Big line of cops behind them, protester, and then 2 cops come the other way. Yeah, it didn't look like it was a situation that required any of that. But anyways, it was a nice try. We kind of got some of it, and we know there was unnecessary violence. If I say, do you know where the Wendy's on the corner of Smith and Wesson, and you say yes, can't that count? That's a leading question. Okay, leading question is when you put the answer in the question and you're looking for a yes, no. And there's a lot of those going on here. And the quick answer is, yeah, you're kind of getting away with it. Especially, well, in cross, you're supposed to. But on examination in chief, you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be open-ended. But you could, but that's called leading because you're putting the information into the question. You would kind of have to say, is there a restaurant on the corner of Smith and Wesson? And then you can get the Wendy's out. But I like what you're thinking. You're trying to get the answer in there. You might have a job on the Canadian government lawyer team because they like to put the answers into the witness's mouth there. Bank accounts being frozen is a real interesting piece of info. I agree, Terry. For this witness, for this situation, for what was going on, and for when it was cleared, and for his involvement, he shouldn't be on any list. Okay? He shouldn't have been on any list. So I agree, Terry. That's interesting. Goose. Slow clap for the live stream. Seriously, we could have been screwed otherwise. 100%. I think this would have gone way different. They would have gone way different. And I even think the crowd, the protesters would have responded differently too. Because after like 3 weeks, if the mainstream narrative was just harsh, lie, and nothing was getting out, like they were not holding their hat on any information getting out, I think even then would have changed the tone a bit. And you might have seen a few more outbursts or violent responses to the police. And then they would have had those videos. So I think it was a combination of a bunch of things. The streamer saved a whole bunch of things. It exposed the government more, but it also gave, I think, the protesters the confidence of knowing that at least some of it's getting out there. So they don't have to lose that frustration. So streamers, you were the difference, I believe completely. That could have gone way different. Yes, well, and so that's good news there, but we'll see you later. But this is a good one, right, Ellen? So it looks like first time since 1990. Excellent. Cool. But then we see later Denise is not happy with Arizona. We'll keep an eye on this, right? Hey, Dave, I can't believe with all the cams and police cameras and the news media, they have not produced any camera evidence. Sure you can, Dave. You can believe that they didn't produce any because there isn't any. It's the easiest leap to make. You didn't produce it because there is none. Pretty simple. The most they got was one witness that said there was violence on the bridge. Right. That was it. Okay. You're very observant, Dave, but it's really easy to believe that they didn't play because they don't have any. Who authorized the account freezing? I believe it was just the banks. No. RCMP informed banks. The banks made a decision. The banks were told to and given immunity. Okay. And I don't know the actual process. There's a thing in Canada called FinTrack, which is a financial tracking system. And likely that was used to know who was where with what bank accounts and stuff like that. And then made a list, an Excel file, shoved it off to, who would the PMO have sent that to at that point? Somebody who had every bank's email and contact for it. And then doled it out and said, here's your TD list, here's your CIBC list, here's other. But no, I don't think it was just the banks. I don't think the banks were really given the order to target people by name. Because I didn't hear many accidental bank stuff. I didn't hear another James Bauer from Manitoba saying his account was also closed. So I think they were very targeted, and they also went after joint accounts, business accounts, personal accounts. And they didn't stop making them pay their bills. So they killed the cash, but all the liabilities stayed open, which is a good way to really sink someone fast. All right. James, the banks were okay with it until the run on cash happened. Yes, James, you paid attention to that one. They were okay because they were told they had immunity. That question is going to be challenged, James, because Senate didn't confirm the Emergency Act. The House did, but the Senate didn't. So there is a legal question on whether or not anything that came from the EA was actually valid at the time it was done, because the Senate didn't confirm it, didn't approve it. And that also includes the immunity for the banks, James. So there's going to be some lawyers with nice suits, maybe purple paper and purple ties, doing some work on challenging even that, whether or not the banks had immunity at the time. And then they're going to be liable for any damages, and there's going to be some penalties for that. That's my hope on that one, because I don't think immunity should ever be allowed without a judicial review. And I don't think the federal government should ever hand out immunity without 3 judges reviewing. Okay? That's where I'm at on that. That should never happen without judicial review. But you're right, though, James. The banks did get a run, and then they went over to Freeland and said, enough. This is hurting us big time. And I think another comment said even investors were pulling back on Canada around that time, because your bank system's not stable anymore. It's not secure. Your bank system can be controlled by the government. That is a shock to the banking system. That's supposed to be that way. I streamed 2 agent provocateurs incidents in Ottawa. One guy stuck his finger in my cheek and called me a Nazi. Name calling, especially that one. Doesn't make it so, but cool vids. Yeah, and if I saw them, I would see if I recognized the one that Viva found as well. But yeah, whether they're Antifa or they're just residents really upset, or people who don't know really what's going on, or just straight up paid provocateurs, or however that works, I guess we'll maybe never know, but they were not successful in Canada. So hopefully they'll never come back. Dave, why they didn't realize about the car industry for batteries, as most of the work is done by robots. Yeah, it's also done. Yeah, but even the just-in-time, robots are not. Because of just-in-time, there could have been hiccups all along the way because of shipments and stuff. But again, I do not think Canada should ever pick an industry and say you're the most important one and we're going to protect you with the War Measures Act. If anybody messes up your logistics, that shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It won't be a thing for long if we can get this guy out, right? Yeah. And I don't like that whole hierarchy, and then the auto workers are more important than nurses and doctors and firemen who can't work because of the vaccine. All right, Jeremy, I believe this is one of the main grassroots leaders from Coots. Yeah, he was a counselor. Okay, so my research on him is a counselor. And yeah, but I think he was pretty clear on that. He was an organizer, the mover and shaker, the public figure, the guy who didn't mind trying to work issues out with people and do what he can. This happens in any grassroots. You'll get some cream and bubbling up, and people are talking and doing good things, and integrity and stuff can start coming out. It looks like he was a decent guy. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're kind of poking fun at the government lawyer there. We had one that looked like Alanis Morissette and now Avril Lavigne. I like Avril Lavigne because once she came out, everybody learned how to say my name properly and spell my name. But I am older than her, so welcome to my footsteps, Avril. Stunt. Why do you have to go and make things so complicated? A reference to Avril there. Oh, geez. Yeah, that should be the motto for the Liberal Party, the PMO's office, because they even did that, right, Stunt? I grew up near Atlantis in Ottawa, Canadian, not much of an icon. Avril wins. For a moment there, she had her time. I liked her. Jagged Little Pill. I think we all played that, and for most, it was our first CD because that was kind of when we went to CDs. But Jagged Little Pill, you could find that in almost every Canadian party somewhere. You'll find a copy of that. Yeah, go ahead. Please join my research team. Let's get on Discord. Let's spin that thing up. Let's invite our friends. Let's turn it into something. Hey, Jeremy. Chad Williamson first came on my radar representing Chris Scott. Oh, the lawyer. Okay. Chad Williamson, the lawyer. And the Whistle Stop Cafe he has done and continues to do excellent work as a freedom lawyer. Okay, cool. Is he in Alberta? I think so. Okay, if you ever contact him or you know him more than just his name, introduce. Stunt. Want to know how trippy this is? Okay, we're talking about Chad from Nickelback and Set Them All Up. Yeah, Canadian royalty, right? By the way, I like Nickelback. I don't know why the hate on them so much. Their Spider-Man song was pretty cool. They have some good music. I don't know why there's so much hate on them. Right, railroaded. Here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. The excavators. Railroaded. She said damage the excavators by accident. So somehow the RCMP is driving down a road, maybe saw a deer, swerved, flipped out of the car, grabbed their wire cutters and gloves, flipped in the air, flew by the excavators, snipping everything, pulling out the batteries, cutting all the cables, and then rolled to safety. Got out of there, didn't drop any blood, and went home. How do you, by accident, sabotage and destroy equipment? So, for those of you who haven't seen it, Railroad shared the video, and I'm going to play the video. This one was like a bee in my bonnet because my goodness, accident. And that's I would say the first that's the council's commission's council, and that was the first time I would say anybody at that table really made a huge narrative slip and screwed that one up. That was funny. And by the way, Freedom Convoy, disappointed you're not following up on some of this. Maybe you're just for the Freedom Convoy, and this is not this is Coots and it has nothing to do with them. I get it. But even just the fact that you're there and you could ask certain questions, I think should happen. All right. Let's get this. Let's get this video. Lawsuit, RCMP. There we go. All right. Let's do this. So for those of you who haven't seen this or you knew about this, as we heard in the testimony, the RCMP, we can all agree through the testimony, damaged some equipment. And as we heard from the testimony, it used to be closer to the road. Then the RCMP were worried that it was going to be digging up the road or maybe being used as a incentive for other people. So they asked for it to be moved, and it was moved to a legal location with permission of the land owner. And then, as you'll see, the allegation is the RCMP showed up. By the way, they admitted to it. Showed up and said, or it just destroyed it. So they broke onto people's property, private property, and destroyed equipment and property. And yeah, this is why we need Alberta police, right, guys? So here we go. It's a quick little video, but well worth it. And Rebel, let's do this. All right. Well, let's wait another second. I have a good stream. I'll try that again. Is this a C11 thing? Wow. That's a YouTube video. That should work. Well, there we go. I'll let that spin for a bit. Maybe it'll come up. But what they really did, folks, is they went and cut stuff and pulled stuff out. And there was chunks of wire missing. The batteries were chopped.
We're a peaceful protest.
There we go.
But we don't expect our authorities to break the law and to vandalize and to trespass. I think somebody should be held to account.
After 3 excavators were sabotaged by the RCMP over fears that they might be used at the Coutts blockade, Williamson Law now confirms that preparations for the filing of a statement of claim are occurring. On February 13th this year, we found out that RCMP sabotaged 3 excavators near the town of Coutts. This happened as the Coutts blockade, a peaceful protest against vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions, which took place around January 29th to February 15th this year, was ongoing near the local international border crossing. Williamson Law has been assisting these individuals, all made possible through your generous crowdfunding efforts through truckerlawyer.ca. And he informs us today about their expected filing of a statement of claim. Before being rendered inoperable, RCMP had allegedly asked the owners of the excavators to move the equipment out of sight from the highway where the blockade was ongoing. The owners obliged and moved the excavators onto private property in the surrounding area.
A few of the boys have brought out some equipment here and they parked it on private land with permission from the owner to park it here. RCMP, they had it parked within view of the highway. RCMP requested that it be moved out of view of the highway, so we've obliged them. After it was moved here, somebody sabotaged the equipment.
RCMP then sabotaged the 3 excavators by cutting cables, removing parts, and inserting spray foam into fuel lines.
Like these all 3 machines, they're valuable machines. And it's going to take a lot of work to put them back into order. I can't see that happening. Like there's parts missing, parts have to be replaced. There's a lot of labor that's got to go into fixing these things before these fellows can use their own equipment again.
Yeah, accident, right? Accident. Railroaded, Parts missing, spray foam in the fuel lines, filters are gone, battery cables cut, electronics cut. For what? Send a power message. We know. October 22nd article. Yeah, there's the article. Okay, that's the one I just pulled up. So if you wanted to pull that up yourself and take a closer look, yeah, complete. It's not even sabotage. That is destruction of property. That's a crime. That's a crime. These government people thought they had control of everything and people would not fight back. And they're so shocked that they hadn't. I do think we were underestimated on our ability to fight back. But we're doing it peacefully. So the effectiveness of it is going to be a long, drawn-out process for us. But people like me went from private to public. Let's get more people out there. Tell your friends, tell your family. We got more sound bites, more proof, more evidence, more videos coming out. Let's use them all. Facebook plans to lay off thousands of employees as following plummet shares. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a sell-off going on in the market too. Following Twitter, there's a whole bunch of cleanup going on. Sorry, Mark. Stick to the truth. Wondering if they're going to show Pastor. He didn't show him, right? But he did come up. The conversation came up on whether or not this witness was at his speech. And that's yet another thing that Alberta needs to talk about, because he was arrested for his speech, for his views, for his fighting. He was dragged out of his house. I saw that video. Well, from his porch. My goodness. Alberta, like, you have some mistakes there. This is why we need Alberta police. We don't need the RCMP anymore. We need to do what Ontario is doing. Follow the OPP. Tomorrow should never have been taken from Alberta. And Pastor... Poloski. I know he went through quite a few things. He got arrested a couple times and dragged out of his porch. Alberta. I'm surprised. But RCMP, right? That's who's involved in that one. Made a speech at the border and was arrested after that. Yeah, and there's more to that story too, because he keeps standing up, and they hate that. And I don't think he did anything wrong. His speech. Do you mean the 2 excavators that were sabotaged? 3, and yeah, Jeremy, we just saw a little video there, and horrible, isn't it? That's your own government. Copied from our news before being rendered inoperable. Mounties allegedly asked the owners of the we just saw the. Sorry about that, railroad. I was kind of going to do the messages first and then do the video, but sorry. The owners, we moved them, and I hope they win that suit. Oh, and there's also audio. The RCMP admitted to it, so there's a phone recording of them saying they had to make them inoperable or something along those lines. They did admit to doing it. Preparing a case. So Chad Williamson. So there's that lawyer, right? Okay, so he was involved in that, and he's also paid for news funds or whatever they've been raising. So good. Hopefully, Chad keeps going with that, and maybe he can do other things around here. For example, can he help Tamara? Is there anything else we can do there, Chad? What about the guys for Coots, the guns? What's going on there? Are you involved with that too? 3 excavators. Yep. Totally destroyed them. And spray foaming. There you go. In the fuel lines. Railroad has all the information. Railroad, roaded. We're going to make a new media around you. To prevent the equipment. Yep. But if you're not allowed to future crime proof. Could have been used. You're not allowed to. By accident, Jeremy. Yeah, we got that one. Incredible. This is a normal behavior of RCMP when they're not in control. So evil. So much malice to the owners for being decent people. Yeah, can you imagine a national police force with even the power to commandeer local police forces? This is what we've been hearing about. They're talking about something like that, maybe a recommendation. And look at how they work. You give them more power. That's a great idea. And people wonder why we want. There you go, Jeremy. APP. Are you down with APP? You know me. Give me Alberta police, provincial police, please. Get the RCMP out. I'm sure they got other things they can do. Go protect everybody else. We'll call you when we need you. Hey, Denise. Every time some really effective info comes up, the stream goes funky. Yeah, that was another weird hiccup. That wasn't my end at all. 0, zilch. When you see me moving my hands like that in the window, I'm just trying to show you that my stream is still up. That's not power or Starlink on my end. It got choppy. And then I went to a backup stream. It was choppy. Not at the same part because I can't tell because my backup stream started a little bit further later, but it was choppy too. I'm like, oh no. I went to the ASL one, the American Sign Language one, and just as that one was kicking in, the other one seemed to. I had 2 going at one time, and one of them was stable. And then I switched over for you, and then we were good after that. But look, I admit when it's me. I admit when it's my power. That was not me. I was just as surprised as you. And when you see me flailing in the window there, I'm just showing to you that Starlink's up. If you can see me moving, something was going on with the original stream. Perfect timing, if you ask me, because he was completely killing the narrative around the excavators at that time. Yeah, Charlie, perfect timing. I got to be unlucky or something, right? And I'm up. That was the source. Yeah. And then, come on, my hand. So silly about the guns. Okay, yeah. I do agree with a lot of the people who think this is a funny story. There's something not right about this one at all. At all. There's something not right about this one. I don't really care that the equipment looked pristine and new, but it's all about who found the guns. It was the protesters. At one point, it was found in an RV, but now it's found in a house. I don't know if they're confusing RV with a trailer house with a house, but I have 2 different sources on where the guns were found, RV or house. It never made it to the front line of the blockade at all, so we can agree on that. And I don't think the mainstream media has been reporting that it was the protesters who turned them in. At least that's what I also heard too. It wasn't the RCMP searching houses. It wasn't them searching trailers or RVs. They didn't just stumble on it. It was brought to their attention, self-reported. At least that's what we were told. This could be agent provocateur. This could be a whole bunch of weirdness, right? Again, perfect timing, perfect everything. And did you also hear the questioning? She said, high capacity magazines. And then the witness, Marco, said, legal high capacity magazines. And then she said, high capacity magazines, right? Dropping legal. Yeah, I think it's a pretty important word there. I think it's pretty important to recognize that it's legal. So what's the problem here? Not even a single bullet was shot off. But it did change the dynamic. I do remember the video at Coutts. I do remember when they announced that guns are involved. It's not what we're here for. It's changed everything. It's really messed up the message. They were very sad, very upset about it. And then they invited the RCMP to join them for supper because they had everything already arranged. And I don't know if they did or didn't, but that was the dynamic of Coutts. They realized when the narrative changed beyond their control, they had to pack in because now it's a bigger problem. And they still offered food. All right. And they were also keen about cleaning up. This whole thing about, wow, you were supposed to be and you didn't, and you really left on the 15th, trying to establish that the EA was still needed, right? She's really trying to shift that date one day over. But he's like, no. It was unblocked by noon on the 14th. We were talking about it by 9 o'clock on the 14th, and we just asked for a little bit more time to clean up. Nothing else was blocked. It was over. She really kept pushing to try and shift the dates, right? Keep the guns in the bad diagonal, man. Diagonal. They keep really trying to boogeyman that one. I think I may have it coming up here. Yeah, I see it coming up. We'll keep it for there. So the guns weren't even at the no, they're well, according to the testimony here, according to what they said here, it was in a house in Coutts, Dave. But I also heard it was in an RV on the way there. And this whole thing about shooting an RCMP officer, I know there's a trial, people were charged. I don't know where the threats were, what they have around that. But boy, they've really expanded it into a big problem when everything was captured and nothing happened. But yeah, Dave, I heard it today for the first time in a house in Coutts. Before that, it was an RV. Now, I don't know if the media's twisting RV to a trailer house to a house, but maybe. Yeah, I remember that speech. They invited him for dinner. Yep. They are. See, Denise, I'm not going to disagree with you on this. I'm not going to disagree at all. Too funny. Something smells funny. It just wrong. There's something wrong with that. All right. We're also perfect for the situation. Dumb luck or something else. I'm with you. Something smells fishy on this one. I wonder if Alberta will do an inquiry around Coutts, something separate from the government of the federal government. I'd be curious to look into that. Just shows how dirty they can get when they want to be, but let's wait and see. Yeah, Dave, especially when they cut up equipment and hide guns or plant guns, all of this is not off the table. Looks like she's trying to change his words. Yeah, good job. Yeah, she was putting words in his mouth at this point, and he kept correcting it. There's something about that particular council. This is a general sense. Yeah, so when we were all sick and tired, and then he asked, one of the last things he said was accountability. He would like to see accountability. Love to hear that coming out of people who are officials or trying to be officials or working as a counselor or other. Accountability. Let's get some more of that. Isn't it even more questionable when Jeremy is held in jail for gun-related charges and no violent hate crimes? Well, the no violent, we'll put that one aside because the charges are violent. Hate crimes, you're 100% right. Held in jail for a gun-related, possibly because it was used, either it was brandished or threatened with, which is the allegations, okay? 100% just the allegations. I'm not saying that happened. I have no first-hand witness. I don't even have anybody saying they know somebody that knows somebody. These are just the allegation. Certainly no hate crime on this one because it was domestic. But at the end of the day, Bright Wheel, bail is a right. There has to be very rare situations where you won't get bail, innocent until proven guilty. I think if you just want to sniff around, he'll find and be granted bail shortly after this inquiry is done. That's my gut. I'm sure we'll be told that was just happened to be the process, but he should be out on bail pending trial, unless he's a flight risk. Hasn't proven to be. So go ahead. He should be having bail. Something's not right. And I don't know why they're holding him up. Yeah, Charlie, 100%. Now, let's also give some fairness to everybody. We don't know the actual details on what's going on, but we do know it was from 2001, and then they picked him up later in July. Yeah, July 2022. Not 2001, 2021. I did that before. I watched one of my videos. I dropped 20 years for some reason. 2021 were the charges, and then 2022 he was picked up and held without bail. That's not really normal, folks. If it was serious and dangerous, it's not like he was on the run. He was doing his podcast from his place. So if they wanted to find him, they could have found him. They did find him. So just hold him right before the inquiry and get rid of him after. They did the same thing to Tamara for Canada Day. There was no reason for her to be dragged over there for that hearing. She could have went on her own accord. She could have went and sent a legal representative. She could have done it through video. Didn't have to drag her like that. All right. It's turning to media versus James. Yeah, you saw that too. Yeah, right after here. Don't believe your lying eyes, right? So here was what she was saying. She was talking about the tractors. Tractor vehicle this, and it was weird and this kind of stuff. And then she said one of these vehicles hit a resident and then showed the truck that had the broken headlight. But we just finished watching the video from inside that truck, and it was another truck. He slid. You can see his back end slid out on him, smacked the front of them. They said he ran away. I don't know about that. But we just watched a big dually black truck hit him, or her, or whoever that was. But then yet the narrative was it was a farm tractor. So don't believe your lying eyes, James. Don't believe them. So we have a broken headlight after seeing the video of the truck using her cell phone while driving ahead on traffic. Yeah, she's using her cell phone, filming it, driving into the head-on traffic, screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God. What are you doing? What are you doing?" Just because you're on the correct side of the road and just because the normal flow of traffic is in the direction you're flowing, you can physically see that that's not the case right now. We've all seen these videos where there's a hurricane coming and they're using both sides of the highway to get traffic out. You would still insist on going against the traffic? Have some common sense and some decency. And I actually believe she should get a ticket because she proceeded in a dangerous situation. Just because you believe the traffic laws are on your side doesn't mean you can then drive into a dangerous situation. That is also at least a fine doing that. Dangerous driving. It's dangerous driving if you know you're going into head-on traffic. Doesn't matter what the arrows on the road are saying. Where are the patches? You found them, Bright Wheel. They're on the right side one. Little patches in the corner. Yeah, I didn't like this, and he didn't catch it, or maybe he did, or he didn't care. But she said, "Oh, there's a patch here and diagonal, and you didn't want to be associated with extremists, right?" And he said, "Yes." Oh, that's so gross when lawyers do that. They're not extremists. We already had testimony. We already had him crossed. We already had the government of Canada. They had their opportunity to establish that he's nothing more than a meme and a joke, and they didn't. They didn't. Not even close. So at this point, I think it would be not malpractice, but it's definitely defamation for any lawyer or even media to continue with this narrative at this stage. You should know far better. The testimony is in. The cross was done. The evidence did not come out. There is no extremist group here. Farfada or Diaglon. This is already testimony. So you lawyers, you're doing yourself a disjustice when you do that. You're right, Bright Wheel. In a real roundabout, cowardly way, she did. Look very closely at this pic. Pristine conditions. Maybe, Eleanor, gun owners, maybe they're taking pride in it. Never used. It's not like they're a militia going out fighting wars all the time. So I'm not really surprised. If it was actually all beaten up and all that kind of used, and then maybe they're playing militia in the bush and doing a bunch of shooting and practicing, but this was, like you say, pristine. Like it just came out of the store. These people were not playing army in the bush or anything like that. Maybe that's where you're going with that, Eleanor. But certainly nothing that makes me think we were close to a problem. And aren't the rules of the road, if you're approaching head-on traffic, are you to... Yes, exactly, railroaded. You have to have common sense too. What if it was an official, we're using all lanes to evacuate a fire? Alberta has fires. What if that's what was going on and she was doing that driving? She'd be at fault. Okay. Common sense says the traffic is not flowing for you in the right direction for you. Therefore, turn around, get off, stop going. She was a very dangerous driver and filming it and showed us. I hope she was charged because that was dangerous driving we saw. Just watching the 22 elections being stolen. Yeah, we got to look into that, Denise. I don't know what's going on yet. Oh. And there's a bunch of live chats, so I'll get to those next. Some good comments to finish on. Heroes to zeros and political tactics. Yeah, when you caught that, we loved our truckers. And same thing with nurses. We loved our nurses, but then as soon as they didn't want to stick something in their arm, we hate them now, right? All right. Oh, wow. That's not what happened at Jason. So, James, what are we talking about? James, what are we talking about here? Bye-bye, criminal. Charlie, is it confirmed yet? I don't know where we're at here. My mother said it would look... There's a lot of chat here. Thanks for trying, Ellen. Okay, so James, I'll start here. That's not what happened. I'm not sure we're talking about here. Give, Send, Go donations were targeted. Yeah, and they were hacked. Sure. I think they were more than hacked. There was an actual hacker guy that came out and claimed to have done it. I don't believe that guy for a second. Okay, there's a video of a guy that claimed that he did the hacking and released it because he was so mad with the truckers and stuff. There's something very fishy about that video too. So James, yeah, I'll make my way down. So go ahead and say, Jason, to clarify along these lines or something like that. I'd like to know what it is that I misstated there for you, James. No, not curly. It was just really long, split ends. Yeah, we're talking about the hair now. Too long and wearing too heavy ponytail. I said her hair was fine, but I also noticed it looks like they needed some work on the ends, but I was going to leave that for the ladies because I'm indifferent. I don't mind, but I don't know if we can call that a good hair day. They all grade at the... So James, I'm desperate to know what it is I got wrong there. Or not give, send, but the other one. Well, Give, Send, Go was hacked too. And what is the other one now? Oh my, it's the more popular one. Jeez. GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe. So GoFundMe, were they both hacked? One of them definitely gave out the list because I got a copy of it. I know who's on there, and I wasn't on that one. So no, I think GoFundMe was hacked, and then Give, Send, Go was threatened to be hacked or was hacked. James, it was also confusing. It all happened so quickly, but I don't think they were actually hacked. I think they gave it out as a threat to donators. I think the government or somebody with government ties, and that's what the hacker claimed. I used to work for the government. They claimed that. Did that as a psyop type of thing to get you so scared about donating that you won't fund it again. That's kind of really the only thing that came out of that. So that's why I think that. The FBI were monitoring the Canadian cell phones and social media. Saw that on Tucker Carlson. Sure. Five Eyes. We do share intelligence. Maybe they had better programs and AI to help out with whatever this craziness that they were doing. But Denise, I'm not surprised. There's a lot of cooperation with the FBI. Right, James, I've mentioned FBI here and similar. Yeah, James does. And it does come up often. I believe we were talking about the FBI had a permanent office in Ottawa around this time while they were working with the FBI. CD code for update on that. I think it's fake. Yeah, there was something on the Discord about Oh boy, what was it about? Oh, the Mondera CEO charged with murder and arrested. I don't think that's real, guys. I don't think that's real. It could be, and it's a real good cover up, like a real good cover up, or someone's reaching and it's not true. Coward of the Cottage. Yeah, okay, JT. Was an army base near me today. Was he? Oh crap, he okay. What's he doing, Charlie? How close? I don't know if I'm part of this conversation. Getting ready for Ukraine. Okay, I'm not sure where I'm at. No new statement. Okay, so see ya, Ellen. Good night. You have yourself a good night. It looks like we're wrapping up shortly. I'm over 10 hours, so I'll have to download. Oh boy, Starlink connection. You having a problem with Starlink? Good night, Ellen. Spin, spin. Much love. God bless all, Denise. Yeah, God bless. Denise, got to go get rest. Everybody saying good night later. Alex, good night. Catch what? What I miss, Railroad. What's this? I love long hair freaky people too. Everybody needs love. Talking about the bank account freezing. Sorry, buds. Is that what I was wrong about? There was no intel aside from MSN. Not sure what you mean there, bud. FinTrek and RCMP acted upon false intel, most likely. But the intel came from Freeland. Like, I don't know what intel you're talking about, but Freeland gave a list. She admitted to it. So she gave a list. Yeah, go find me, Bev. Or at the very least, illegal obtained intel. Go fraud me. Yep. And then give send go. Cooking dinner. Sorry, James. Yeah. Maybe we'll catch up on that. What it was that I got wrong there. But Freeland has admitted that she had a list and she used it. I'm not sure the mechanisms to actually get all the way to the Royal Bank and stuff like that, but I don't really think it matters. All right. Look at that, folks. We're at the end of the chat. I'll leave it for a few more minutes. Railroad, Eleanor, you going to stick around? We're going to do a quick little chat at the end here about maybe sharing the stream tomorrow or whatever. But Eleanor and Railroad, here's the link. And then you'll be able to just come and chat. We won't be online. It'll be private. Go ahead and click that. Thanks, Goose. We'll see you tomorrow. And again, tomorrow we may be doing 4 witnesses. We were told a little bit early that it might be a long day. And just going by the witness list, if they're trying to wrap up with Coots, yeah, we may be getting 4 people. So Jim Willett, Village of Coots, might be the mayor. Mario de Tomaso from Ontario, Ian Freeman from Ontario, and Merlin de Grand from Alberta. So they might be wrapping up all 4 of them tomorrow. That might be why it's a long day. All right, Goose, you have yourself a good night. That's me. Oh, yeah, so go ahead and jump in. Railroaded if you can, and Eleanor, if you want to do that. If not, we can catch up another time. Have a good one, the Azario. Take care. Catch you guys on Discord, easy peasy. Okay, Railroad. We'll see you in Discord then. Have a good night, folks. Take care, Clay. Take care, Jeremy. Goose Clay, eat something yummy and report back. Okay, cool. Where's the Discord link? Let me get it to you. I think I'm going to learn how to do this. How do we? Okay, so we go to the server, invite people. There we go. Copy link. There we go. I'm coming, Azario. I'm coming. There we go. There's one for you too. Oh, you're already there. Okay, RR beat me to it. There you go. Thank you, Railroaded. You got it, and he's already there. I heard the thing pop up. So cool. I'll pop into Discord here. So cool. Okay, well, Railroaded, we'll try and do this StreamYard thing again. I think the best bet there is to just try and log in with what you used yesterday. If that's a no-go, hit me up. I'll redo the invite. You'll come back in again. Don't lose any sleep if we don't get that going, though. I think we are doing quite well in the chat, and one hiccup today was not bad. Take care, Bev. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Oh, I'm getting stickers and stuff in Discord. Okay, so everybody, it was a good day. We got some more information. We got our Discord set up. We're going to go take a look at the election results tonight. We'll see if we'll be talking about that tomorrow. And we got some coots in there. It was nice to see Alberta represented, Alberta strong, Alberta free. And if you ever got the inkling, we would love for you to join us in Alberta. All right, everybody, 9 o'clock tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. The inquiry at 9:30. It looks like it's going to be a long day. So get your rest, bring your electrolytes, and I'll preheat the trailer a little bit earlier this morning or tomorrow morning. Have yourself a great night, and you all take care. Take care of each other, and God bless. Bye. And if you liked this video, remember to like and subscribe and press that notification button to receive more information like this. You can also follow me at yellowhead.vote to stay informed and get the inside scoop. Thank you.